The girlfriends are discussing the events that happened the day before. It's all people have been talking about lately. A young man driving a motorcycle is talking on the phone. He tells his buddy about his conversation with his boss. The boss was shocked, but if you ask him for a raise, the boss will agree. The guy looked around and said that this neighborhood he was in was a shithole. There are only homeless people here. A young man walked past him. The sloppily dressed man looked around. He couldn't figure out where he was. His appearance attracted the attention of passers-by. The air was stinky, and there was a noise on all sides that could be deafening. This was definitely not the kingdom in which he lived. The guy didn't know what this place was, but it certainly wasn't an illusion. It looked too real. Passers-by looked back at him and thought, what kind of a poor guy showed up here? Could it be a bum? The young man urgently needed to find out where he was. A stranger stands in the middle of a busy street. He thinks it's awfully noisy. Emperor of the Flame. Anyone who called Emperor Yomru by that name was doomed to perish. Everyone who fought him had no doubt that he was the Flame Emperor. He knew neither pity nor tears. He appeared as a man, but he was no longer a man. Wherever he went, he was followed by the bloody trail of his victims. No one dared follow his path, for he was none other than the god of destruction. He destroyed the supreme master of the Dark Path Murim and forced the heavenly demon cult leader to kneel. For these feats, he was considered the pinnacle of skill among light and dark warriors. He became known as the god of martial arts. Emperor Yomru watches a small village nestled in the middle of the forest from the top of a cliff. Now his past is like a dream. He thought his life could be nothing but blood and violence. The girl turned her uncle's attention to something beautiful. The interlocutor said he did not understand. Does the girl see beauty in these petals of the holy? The girl wondered, does this uncle not know what joy is? Joy is when you laugh and dance with happiness, even if there's no particular reason for it. Someday the man would probably understand, but for now she would share her joy with him. The girl handed the man a dandelion flower. The boy scrutinized it carefully. Meeting this girl melted his heart, and he suddenly knew what tears and laughter were. He didn't know that joy would ever appear in his life of chaos and evil. The girl has found her happiness in life, but what should he do? Should he, too, go in search of happiness? Or should he not get carried away with laughter and tears? Happiness. Had he really achieved eternal immortality? The young man opened his eyes. Where is he? The emperor couldn't understand, because he had just been on his way to immortality. Or had someone put an illusion on him and he hadn't noticed? The emperor thought that he should be looking for a way out of here anyway. The cave was dark and uninhabited. Emperor Yomru decided he had to get out and assess the situation. Behind our hero appeared the huge head of a monster. Alpha Team is requested to enter portal A012809 immediately. If they see anything suspicious, they are to report immediately. Their task is to conduct reconnaissance. They must be sure to return alive. The Alpha Team moved cautiously deeper into the cave. One of the team members said that it seemed to be a Class A portal, but it was relatively quiet. The colleague wondered, did this guy really not remember anything? Was he asleep during the briefing? Class A portals are home to the most intelligent monsters. It had been 5 years since Group Zero guardsmen had died in a similar situation. They went far into the portal, and there was a whole darkness of monsters waiting for them. No one survived. Group Zero was completely wiped out back then. Blood was everywhere, and no one could assess what had happened. The guy scratched the back of his head and apologized to his colleague for his ignorance. There was a command not to move. A strange glow appeared from the depths of the cave. The girl was surprised. She didn't even feel the presence of this monster. When did it have time to appear? The Class A monster lurked as if it pretended to be undead. The girl who was the commander of this squad told everyone to retreat. She would try to hold the monster back. However, that monster did not show any signs of life. There was no limit to the young people's astonishment. What had happened here? The Alpha Team came on the line and reported that many dead Class A Cyclops and Class B monsters were found in the cave. All of the higher monsters have been destroyed. The Alpha Team continues to scout and will report in a timely manner. The guy told the commander that he had reported the situation to the center. The girl praised him. Guy speculated, maybe these monsters were fighting each other? The commander said that even if so, the Cyclops couldn't have been injured by inferior monsters. So another guild was hunting in this place. After all, guilds only raid high-level portals these days. The commander found this interesting. Is there really a guild in this country that hunts wherever it wants and no one knows about it? After crossing the portal, Emperor Yomru found himself in an open space. There were city ruins all around. What is this place? He thought. Opening his eyes, the emperor realized he was in a cave full of monsters. I wonder why these monsters that he could destroy with a single blow were pouncing on him. How did he manage to find a way out? Looking around, the emperor thought, what kind of ruins are these? Were there any living beings left in them? Not far away lay human remains. The emperor took off the skeleton's clothes and put them on himself. It was better than nothing. Emperor Yomru once again found himself in an unfamiliar place. There was only dirt, ruins, and weathered remains. Our hero felt no signs of life around him. The emperor had encountered the celestial demon cult. Their mages used forbidden magic. He felt something like that now. Yomru could sense the surroundings from such magic, but he should have looked around before applying his power here. The guy thought that the first thing he needed to do was get out of here. The young man decided to go where the black energy was least. Choosing the right direction, he resolutely rushed towards his designated goal. It was reported on television that the Awakened Association had not yet expressed a clear position on the incident. There are discussions going on about this portal in various countries where there are zero-level awakened ones. The young men were in a restaurant. One of them asked when they would finally be served jjajangmyeon. The waitress girl said she was already carrying. It was the senior manager of Yangchunggak restaurant, Lim So-young. Lim So-young put the food on the table and wished the young people a pleasant appetite. The door opened and a young man entered the restaurant. The senior manager got excited and said that she hadn't seen this guy in the restaurant for a long time. The young man said hello and ordered, asking for a plate of jjajangmyeon. It was the director of the Awakened Association, Baek Yoon-ho. Lim So-young said that the director looked tired. Does he really feel bad? Baek Yoon-ho asked if the girl had seen with today's news. Another portal opened in the undead lands. The guilds are fighting over this portal, and they're just burning out on the job trying to put out this conflict. They're under a lot of pressure to get their hands on that portal. Everyone's after the magic stones. Recently, there have been a lot more accidents during raids. With the food, restaurant director Yu Sun-tae showed up and said he agreed. Portals keep multiplying. However, for them, this has an upside. More magic stones on the market means lower prices. The restaurant manager added that the monsters don't please them at all, and they're not getting as many customers. Baek Yoon-ho agreed, but at a time like this, who dares to leave the house? A guy on a motorcycle walked into the restaurant. He nervously said he couldn't take it anymore. Showing the information from his smartphone, he said another portal had opened and he couldn't work like this anymore. The restaurant manager, Yu Sun-tae, told him to calm down and not to yell in front of customers. After all, he's already gotten a double pay raise. Wouldn't he be more friendly? The guy replied that it was unbelievable. Is his life really worth that pittance? He can't work like this anymore. Either the director will give him another raise or he can look for another courier. Yu Sun-tae was indignant. How dare he do such a thing? They were all having a hard time. The courier stood his ground. Either his salary would be raised or he would leave. Yu Sun-tae told Lim So-young that it was time to pick up Ho Yue. Should she go get the girl? Lim So-young was surprised because it wasn't time yet. Yu Sun-tae said that we should hurry up so that we won't be late. Lim So-young replied that she understood and left. The restaurant director thought that a lot of people were moving because of the new portals. Many people were afraid for their lives. It has become very difficult to find workers, so this rascal is so brazen. Yu Sun-tae just settled here. He doesn't want to leave. The director looked at the brazen courier who was staring at his smartphone. Why can't we find any decent couriers these days? Emperor Yomru found himself in a place where there was no negative energy. At the moment, he was in the center of a city he didn't know. His clothes made passers-by look away from him. The boy thought that this place was nothing like his homeland. But there are similarities. Many people have an inner energy. Yomru looked at the woman holding the hand of a little girl. They were talking quietly about something. This girl's energy made her stand out from the crowd, so the child caught our hero's eye. Yomru thought that the girl had pure energy. Does that mean this child knows something? Suddenly a strong wind blew and the woman grabbed her daughter's hand tighter. A gust of wind blew the girl's hairband off her head. The girl let go of her mother's hand and rushed after the headband. Lim So-young shouted for Ha-yoon not to run away. It could be dangerous. However, the girl didn't listen. Ha-yoon shouted that it was a gift from her dad and ran out into the driveway to get the headband. Ha-yoon picked up the thing from the road and rejoiced. At that moment, a car was speeding down the road. The girl did not see it. The driver did not have time to stop. The headband flew into the air again. Lim So-young flinched and shouted loudly. The passers-by also shrieked in surprise. Suddenly, someone's hands reached for the girl. Ha-yoon saw the car, and fear appeared in her eyes. A young man who appeared from nowhere picked up the little girl in his arms and literally carried her out from under the wheels of the car. The girl's savior turned out to be Emperor Yeomru. Leaving the roadway, the guy told the child that she had almost been hit by a car. He asked how the girl was feeling. The young man let go of the child, and the girl ran towards her mother. They were both frightened. Lim So-young bowed to the unknown young man and thanked him. She didn't even know how she could repay the guy for saving her daughter. The young man said he wasn't grateful. He was glad the child wasn't hurt. Our hero has given the girl energy for her nervous system. Now she can handle it. Lim So-young offered to help the rescuer get to the hospital. The guy replied that he was fine. Yeomru looked at the woman and only now remembered the last time he had eaten. Before getting here, Yeomru ate one dumpling. The rescued girl pulled the guy's clothes and said her daddy was a cook. She suggested we go out to eat together. Lim So-young said that they are really inviting the good man to eat with them. It's not like he should go hungry. He saved her daughter, and the least she can do is feed her. The boy began to refuse. He had done what he had to do, and not at all for the reward. But his stomach continued to rumble treacherously. Finally, he agreed. The restaurant manager was terrified. Did his daughter, Ha-yoon, almost get hit by a car? Yoo-suntae walked up to the girl and asked how she was feeling. Isn't she in pain? Should they go to the hospital? Lim So-young said that the girl was fine. Lim So-young said that their daughter was saved by this man. She would like to feed him, so they came together. Yoo-suntae walked up to the guy and started shaking his hand. He said that he was very grateful for saving Ha-yoon. He can order whatever he wants in this restaurant. The emperor was confused and thanked the director. Ha-yoon went up to the emperor and said that her dad had warned her. You can't sit at the table dirty. Yeomru remembered the clothes he was wearing, and he felt uneasy. It was the clothes he had taken off the corpse. Yoo-suntae offered the young man a shower while he prepared the food. The restaurant director also offered the emperor clean clothes. Yoo-suntae said that he had put on a little weight, and these clothes wouldn't fit him anyway. They're about the same height, so this will probably fit. The director added that socks seemed to be needed as well. Yeomru found himself in the bathroom. He had been told there was a shower in here. The walls glistened brightly. Where is the well? The emperor called the master and said that he would not have enough of the water that was in that well. Yoo-suntae was surprised. After all, he has no well. The emperor pointed to the toilet bowl and said that he would not be able to wash himself with such a small amount of water. The interlocutor smiled and said that it was not a well. It was a toilet bowl. The emperor was surprised. Does the master mean to say that this is a latrine? Yoo-suntae confirmed that it was the same water as the tap water, but the purpose of use was different. Yoo-suntae said that the young man wanted to take a shower. You have to turn this lever and water will come from the top of the watering can. After a second, the principal said we have to catch the watering can. Otherwise, everything around will be in water. Our hero thought, what is that snake spitting water? Having overcome all the domestic obstacles, Emperor Yeomru finally took a shower and wiped himself dry. He was now in clean clothes. The guest told his host that he was feeling very well and thanked him for his help. Yoo-suntae, wiping up the water on the floor, was also glad that the water treatment was over. The host said he didn't want to offend the guest, but he wondered where the young man came from. It was as if he was seeing a bathroom for the first time in his life. The protagonist wondered how he could explain everything to his interlocutor. Yoo-suntae thought that their guest might have memory loss and shared his assumption with his wife. The emperor, while at the table, said that he only had fragments of memory, but he had absolutely no recollection of how he ended up here. Yoo-suntae said, so that's why the young man was dressed like that. Looks like that cave the guy came out of is one of the portals. Yeomru wondered which portal he was talking about. These are doors to another dimension that once started opening in this world, but they still don't know what they are. These doors open and close for no apparent reason. Sometimes people get sucked into a portal and are left to survive alone until the door closes again. They usually lose their memory. In severe conditions, they lose their memory completely and may lose socialization skills. Such people are called isolationists. Yu Sangtae said that he would explain everything later. But right now, we should eat before the food gets cold. Yomru picked up his plate from the table and thanked his hosts. The boy looked at the contents of the plate and wondered what it was. He thought the color of this food was suspicious. The color of the food reminded him of the time when he was undergoing initiation. To survive, he had to drink dirty standing water with blood and corpses. Hayun asked why Uncle didn't eat. Does he not like black noodles? The emperor asked, how to eat black noodles? The girl stuck the chopsticks into the plate and told me to stir them and then spoon the noodles over. Ha-Yun rolled the noodles onto the sticks and held them out to the young man, telling Uncle to gobble. Yomru carefully brought the noodles to his lips and sniffed this food first. Jajangmyeong. It looks a little strange, but the flavor is great. He's never had it anywhere else. Yu Suntai watched the guests handle the food and said that he wanted to treat the young man to something better. But it was late, and there were no groceries at home. Lim So-young added that they would definitely treat the young man to something better next time. The emperor asked the hosts for another plate of this dish. Ha-Yun laughed and said that Uncle had gotten dirty again. Saying goodbye, our hero thanked his hosts for such a hearty meal. Yu Sungtae said that there was no need for gratitude. The young man should definitely drop by their place anytime he wanted jjajangmyeong. Yomru saw a strange leaf pasted on the wall and wondered what the writing on the leaf meant. The restaurant manager replied that they were looking for an employee to deliver their food to their destination. They had had couriers, but all of them demanded too much pay, so now they urgently needed a new courier. Yomru asked. The ad said, with accommodation. Does that mean they'll give the courier a room? Yu Sungtae nodded affirmatively. After all, there aren't many people willing to work. The protagonist thought he needed to settle down somewhere, since he couldn't go back to his world yet. This suggestion was very timely. He would work and at the same time learn how the world works. The emperor asked the restaurant manager if he could get a job working as a courier. Yu Sungtae was surprised. Would a young man really want to do that? Yu Sangtae scratched his head and said that they would be very grateful. But the thing was that hiring isolationists involved legal difficulties. Lim So-young said to her husband, after all, this man saved their daughter. We should try to help him. The wife added that she had heard that a citizen could become a guarantor for an isolationist. The woman added that this was a fateful meeting. We have to vouch for this guy and he will be their courier. The husband, after thinking about it, said that his wife was right. There is indeed such a way. Yu Sungtae told the young man that he agreed and would vouch for him. The emperor bowed, thanked, and said he would try very hard. Emperor Yomru introduced himself to his new acquaintance and said his name was Kang Seo and he was 35 years old. Yu Suntai was surprised that Kang Seo was his age and looked much younger. The restaurant manager suggested that since they were the same age, they could use the word you. Kang Seo replied that he would be happy to work for Yu Suntai. The girl suggested calling Uncle Kang Seo. This name will remind him to smile more often. The boy replied that she certainly makes up names like that. The girl said that the name was very beautiful, meaning wide smile. The emperor took the girl's hand and said that he agreed to bear the name Kang Seo. Night had fallen over the city. A full moon shone in the sky. A flock of crows sat on the wires. The ravens were not ordinary. Their eyes glowed like demons. They were watching the house where the emperor had settled from above. The emperor, in a separate room provided for him, was performing a meditation ritual. The protagonist thought that there was a lot of pure energy in this world. There are many objects in the household of these people that are difficult for him to even imagine. It is unclear what their purpose is. It's a real world of wonder. The door to the room opened. Yu Sungtae stood on the threshold. The landlord wondered, why is Kang Seo sitting in the dark? Kang Seo replied that he couldn't find a lamp in the darkness, so he sat like that. Yu Sungtae realized that he needed to teach the boy how to turn on the light. He went to the light switch and demonstrated it. Our hero was very interested. Lim So-young appeared and wondered why their guest was up so early. Kang Seo asked if Lim So-young was heading to the kitchen to cook. Yu Sungtae said that they will be opening an establishment soon. They have a lot of work to do. Our hero offered to help the lady of the house. Yu Sungtae wondered if the boy was ready to work already since he could still sleep. He was embarrassed to make Kang Seo work overtime. Kang Seo replied that he just wanted to repay his hosts with kindness for kindness. Yu Suntai asked the guy to clean up in that case. The owner took out a vacuum cleaner and said that this device would make cleaning easier. It's called a vacuum cleaner. It was the first time Kang Seo had held such a device in his hands. You have to press that button over there and this device will suck up dust and dirt. Yu Sung-tae continued to instruct. Now you have to introduce the device on the floor like a mop. It's very easy. Kang Seo was trying to solve the issue of his long hair being sucked inside this mop. He smiled and said his daughter helps him out sometimes too. Yu Sung-tae looked at the guest and was surprised. His facial expression and hairstyle were very strange. Kang Seo said he was fine. Yu Sung-tae remarked that the vacuum cleaner, though old, sucks in a lot, so you have to be careful. The owner of the restaurant says it's time for him to get to work in the kitchen, so he leaves the young man here alone. Kang Seo thought he had a mission. He needed to get out, but this device was quite dangerous. As always in such cases, the protagonist decided to use magic. This method always worked without fail. Kang Seo began to systematically spread magic throughout the room. Dust, debris, and various harmful substances were activated and collected in one place. The trash can seemed to our hero the most optimal place to collect all the harmful substances from this room. When the dust was done, we could move on to water procedures. Thanks to magic, the water spread throughout the room. All surfaces, even hard-to-reach places, were scrubbed. When Yu Sung-tae looked into the room, the cleaning was done. Our hero said that he thought it was a good job. Kang Seo said that he cleaned up in his own way and hoped that Yu Sung-tae wouldn't mind. The host was surprised. Did his guest really have such an ability? Kang Seo interjected. If Yu Sung-tae meant controlling the element of water, then that was his ability. But what was the big deal? Yu Sung-tae wondered if Kang Seo was a high-level awakened person. It's the name given to people who have awakened superpowers. This process began 25 years ago when portals began to open. These abilities are also called aura. Such people possess telekinesis and other hard-to-explain things, such as various elemental magic. Depending on how well a person manages their aura, they are assigned a class. The higher the class, the higher the status and influence in society. Yu Sung-tae added that he had once worked as a loader, and there were awakened ones among the staff. But no one he had seen in his life was as skilled at wielding aura as Kang Seo. This guy's talents have no reason to languish in this restaurant. He should get a job as a hunter in the guild and make a decent living there. Kang Seo told the interviewer that he has no plans to become a hunter for humane reasons. There was confidence in Kang Seo's eyes, and he wasn't going to change his mind. Yu Sung-tae was surprised. It's just that the guy doesn't understand what life is like in this country yet. Here, high-level awakened ones live like nobles. Kang Seo said that after saying that, he felt even less like becoming a hunter. Kang Seo told his interlocutor that he had tasted wealth and honor in his life. But he realized too late how perishable it all was. Yu Sung-tae looked at his interlocutor and asked, was his memory coming back to him? Kang Seo said he used to live in a completely different world. One day, however, he fell into oblivion and woke up in one of those portals that his interlocutor had mentioned. He got out and reached this city, and he was looking for pure energy. It just so happened that he saw a girl with pure energy in the city. Kang Seo added that he saved Ha Yoon, who was almost hit by the wheels of an iron wagon. Yu Sung-tae said that this explained a lot about his guest's behavior. Kang Seo apologized and said he didn't mean to deceive those people. I guess I should have told the truth right away. Yu Sung-tae expressed regret and said that Kang Seo had been through a lot. It must have been very scary for him to be in a completely foreign world. Kang Seo wondered if Yu Sung-tae believed these stories. The interlocutor said that if he were him, he wouldn't have been able to tell it all at once either. The restaurant owner offered to tell everyone that his guest was an isolationist just in case. But Kang Seo should definitely think twice about checking for superpowers. In that case, Kang Seo's life might take a turn for the better. Awaken Support Unit Team 1. Sung Jin-ho's name has been broadcast. The man looked up. Was it really him being summoned? A colleague said, has he been at work all night again? It's not long before he's playing in the box. Jin-ho was frustrated. What was the need? Why did she come to nag him again? Kim Myung-hee from the second team of the inspection department asked what was going on with him that he had to work all night. Jin-ho stretched. He is restless with the matter of A012809. He has no idea which end to take it from. The girl handed her interlocutor the paper she held in her hands and told him to familiarize himself with them. He's still looking for that Awakened Zero class, isn't he? Jin-ho read it and was surprised. Kim Myung-hee said that the chairman ordered her to close the case. That was exactly what was stated in the papers he had just received from his interlocutor. Jin-ho wondered, did the principal really not want them to find an Awakened Class 0? Jin-ho clutched his head. How could this be possible? Myung-hee replied that it was the chairman's order. Jin-ho was perplexed, because for the first time ever, their country had a chance to obtain their Awakened Zero class. Myung-hee noticed, because they still haven't found that person and everyone knows about it. Although they aren't even sure if it's possible to destroy them with their bare hands. They both remembered those destroyed Cyclops, and it was done by one man. Maybe it wasn't even human. Jin-ho, nervous, said that it was definitely done by a human. He analyzed all the wounds of the monsters inside the gate. It was the mark of one man's fist, judging from the fingerprints. He checked several times and the result was the same. This is their only chance. If they find this awakened one, the country will finally take its rightful place among the alliance of allied countries. Myung-hee wondered, what if they search for him but never catch him? The interlocutor told Myung-hee not to worry. They will definitely find him. They have no other way out. The girl waved her hand and said that she would take over the chairman, and he should conduct his investigation as quickly as possible. Jin-ho thanked the girl for her diligence and understanding. Jin-ho started to pack. Myung-hee said she had an appointment. She will have lunch with her younger brother. They haven't seen each other for a long time. Jin-ho said it's the one who is the paramedic Kim from the sanitary unit. The girl suggested her interlocutor to join them. Jin-ho refused, not this time. He'll buy something at the store and have lunch here. Myung-hee said they would be meeting at a famous restaurant not far from here. But she didn't ask what kind of cuisine was there. Jin-ho said he guesses which famous restaurant nearby he's talking about. At the very least, he knows an establishment that Department Head Bayek would recommend. After all, their department head is a serious taster. Myung-hee stated that her brother told her that the restaurant was also recommended to him by the department head. Jin-ho suggested then that this was most likely the place that Mr. Bayek was so fond of. Myung-hee stood under the signboard and couldn't remember the name of that restaurant. Was it Spring Pavilion? Her brother came up to the girl and said that he had wanted to have lunch here with her for a long time. Jajangmyeong is unbelievable. Kim Myung-jin, the chief paramedic of the first group, asked, could it be that the sister doesn't like Jajangmyeong? Myung-hee objected. After all, she's going out to eat with her little brother. Of course she'll like this dish. The girl thought she wanted to take her brother to a high-end restaurant, but it turned out like this. Opening the door of the establishment, Myung-hee told her brother that she was hungry and really liked Jajangmyeong. Myung-hee wondered what restaurant department head Bayek recommended to everyone. The cooking here must be really good if he likes this cuisine so much. The young men entered the restaurant. There were no customers. Lim So-young, the head receptionist, said hello and offered to take any table they liked. The receptionist said it was a self-service restaurant and motioned for them to follow her. Myung-hee was a little discouraged. Lim So-young left the menu on the table and told her to be called when the young men decided on their order. Myung-hee wondered, is this really a good restaurant? Why is it so empty? Myung-jin told his sister to stop being nervous. He guarantees that the food here is really good. The guy handed his sister the menu and told her to make a choice. He was sure she'd like it. Myung-jin said he had already made a choice. It would naturally be Jajangmyeong. Sister said she would order the same. Lim So-young walked over and asked if the young people were ready to order. Myung-jin said they wanted 1 pork and sweet and sour sauce. He also asked to bring 2 servings of Jajangmyeong. The receptionist smiled and said she would give the gallant young man another portion of dumplings on the house. Myung-hee didn't like this restaurant. The sister wondered if her brother had become so sociable. Myung-jin replied that it was just basic politeness. The paramedic asked how the nurse was doing. I guess they're in the middle of an emergency because of the A-class portal incident. Pouring herself some warm water, the sister replied that the headache was the least that had haunted her since the incident. Myung-jin wanted to know the details. This incident has attracted a lot of attention. If they don't find the only awakened Zero class in years, their association will never recover from this reputational blow at all. However, the chairman ordered the case to be closed. However, her colleague in the support department vowed to find the awakened one by any means necessary. The brother assumed his sister was having a hard time. The easiest thing to do, of course, is to close the case. But how can you pass up an opportunity like this? She and her colleague Jin-ho are certainly making life difficult for themselves. The girl stopped half-heartedly and looked around anxiously. Her brother asked what was the matter. Myung-hee felt some strange energy. The girl thought, that man standing to the side was emitting an incredibly powerful aura. But why hadn't she felt anything until now? Yet there had just been a surge of aura. Myung-hee's aura detection ability worked on this person. But in 1 second, A terrifying torrent of power flowed out from him. Could he really hide his aura so quickly? If the girl wasn't mistaken, this guy was at least A-class. In terms of level, he might even be comparable to the zero-class awakened one they were looking for. Lim So-young brought the order. 2 servings of jjajangmyeon, pork and sweet and sour sauce, and dumplings on the house. The administrator wished them a pleasant appetite. The young men said thank you. Myung-jin said that everything looked appetizing. Myung-hee agreed and said that it does look very appetizing. The girl tasted the dark noodles, and maybe she was just dreaming because she was hungry. A Class 0 awakened person is here? Who would believe such a thing? The girl said that her brother was crazy. Myung-jin was upset. Didn't his sister like it? The girl asked why he hadn't brought her here before. This is a delicious dish. It's simply marvelous. How could she not trust this place? Myung-jin smiled. His sister had scared him. He thought she wouldn't like it. The young men were happily finishing their food. Myung-hee said that this jjajangmyeon is so delicious that it's almost criminal. Kang Seo thought that one of the guests of the place had an exceptional sense of aura. He was playing with the owner's daughter at the time. Kang Seo looked at the visitors and thought that their energy was different, but both of them could be called masters. I guess these are what they call the awakened. We must be careful not to give away the level of our aura. We must learn more about the awakened ones. After the restaurant closed, Kang Seo used his ability to interact with the water element. Kang Seo, using his method again, cleaned up the room. It was still not as clean as he would have liked, but it was fine. He was still getting used to life in this world, but the kind owners of the place had already taught him a lot. Now he knew that this was not a well, but a toilet. Not the first time, but he learned how to use the shower. Our hero realized that there was still a lot he didn't know. However, with time, he would learn everything. Kang Seo knew that there was no hurry. The Emperor decided that he should learn more about the awakened ones. Our hero heard a strange loud sound coming from outside, leaping out of the room. What could that growling be, he thought? The director, Yu Sun-tae, was standing outside the place. He said that Kang Seo showed up just in time. He had something he wanted to show me. Kang Seo asked Yu Sung-tae what that strange sound was. Was it really coming from that thing? Yu Sung-tae confirmed and said it was a riding device called a motorcycle. The motorcycle will be needed by the guy in his job as a courier. You still have to learn how to ride a motorcycle, and that will take time. But Kang Seo can get used to it for now. Yu Sung-tae gave the interlocutor a motorcycle helmet and told him to put it on. A motorcycle is very fast, so it is very dangerous. The rider needs protection. A helmet is such a helmet. Kang Seo thought that it was almost like the helmets that warriors wear. Yu Sun-tae said that if a guy wore a helmet, he could sit behind him. Kang Seo said it was like he was getting on a horse. Yu Sun-tae agreed. It was something like that. However, this is where the resemblance to a horse ends. The motorcycle is much faster, but don't be intimidated. Yu Sung-tae told the passenger to hold on tightly, and the motorcycle started to rapidly pick up speed after touching down. The driver asked if the passenger was getting motion sickness on this ride. Kang Seo asked, "Does the courier really have to travel only on that?" Yu Sun-tae asked if the person he was talking to was afraid. If he's afraid of riding a motorcycle, he shouldn't be working in the delivery business. There is no other means of traveling quickly through the narrow alleys. Kang Seo thought, so the goal is specifically fast food delivery. Kang Seo wondered if it was too slow, and the motorcycle is too noisy. He decided that he could move much faster with the body lightning technique. The motorcycle stopped, and Yu Sung-tae suggested walking in the neighborhood. Most of their customers live in this apartment complex. The apartment complex is called Asura. There's a number on the side of the house. It's a sector number. The first digit of the apartment number shows what floor it is on. Kang Seo said he had a question. Yu Sun-tae said that this city is very dangerous to live in. It's full of monsters. Then why don't people leave this place? Yu Sung-tae replied that it was dangerous here, but not to the point where people were willing to abandon their homes. 25 years ago, the first monsters appeared. It was impossible to live in this town then. But soon people realized that with the help of magic stones, protective barriers can be created around cities. Therefore, this city is relatively safe. Kang Seo asked his interlocutor, "What are magic stones?" Yu Sung-tae replied, "It's something like the nuggets that people find in the bodies of destroyed monsters. There is so much energy in them that they have begun to replace the energy carriers of the past. Thanks to them, there has been a leap in the development of science." But that doesn't mean that the streets are completely safe. In any case, caution should be exercised. Yu Song-tae opened a can of soda and offered his interlocutor a drink. Kang Seo was surprised. This object made a strange sound. What is it? Yu Song-tae offered to try it. He said that this drink should be liked. It was unlikely that Kang Seo had ever tasted such a thing. After tasting the drink from the jar, Kang Seo thought it was something unknown again. He was wary of tasting it, but on the other hand, he was also afraid to eat jjajangmyeon at first. Kang Seo felt a spicy sweetness that refreshed and spilled throughout his body. It is like the enlightenment that comes upon a person like lightning after long and hard work. Kang Seo concluded that it was a strange drink. It couldn't even compare to the magic panacea that the elders of the Northern Ice Palace had given him. Yu Sung-tae said that this liquid also helped with indigestion. Kang Seo thought it was unbelievable. After taking a bit of a break, Yu Sung-tae suggested heading back. Kang Seo asked his interlocutor, does he really need to ride this device? Couldn't he do without a motorcycle? Yu Sung-tae said that there are other means of transportation, but there is nothing better than a motorcycle for a courier. Kang Seo told his companion that he could manage on his own 2 feet. Yu Sung-tae was upset. He had said that the delivery had to be fast. Otherwise, the noodles would swell up on the way and the dish would become unmarketable. Also, customers get annoyed when the delivery is long. Kang Seo said they don't have to worry about that. Kang Seo said that he would get there faster on his own than on a motorcycle. Yu Sung-tae wondered how that was possible. Yu Sung-tae faltered. After all, it wasn't that unbelievable. After all, Kang Seo was an awakened person, by the looks of it, no less than A grade. Kang Seo told his interlocutor if he didn't believe it, he could demonstrate everything on the way back. Yu Sung-tae was curious to check, and he agreed. Kang Seo said he remembers the way to the restaurant, so he'll get there himself without a problem. Yu Sung-tae said that he certainly believed the person he was talking to, but just in case, Kang Seo might as well start running already. Yu Sung-tae, putting on his helmet, said if Kang Seo really overtook him, he would approve the delivery without transportation. Kang Seo got his nickname Flame Emperor for a reason. He has an incredible gift of the element of fire called the invisible body technique. As the name says, he became completely invisible when applying this skill and could get close to the enemy completely undetected and destroy him. After he achieved enlightenment, the protagonist continued to develop his invisible body technique. He called it an improved version of the invisible void body technique. The girls talking about work didn't notice some guy rushing past them. The young men resting on their lunch break also didn't notice Kang Seo rushing past them. This ability not only made our hero invisible, but also made it impossible to detect his presence. This ability also increased dexterity and speed to unbelievable levels. This new technique, along with his supreme martial arts prowess, earned him the title of God of Martial Arts, even more majestic than God of Annihilation. At this time, Yu Sung-tae was trying to get to his restaurant as fast as possible. He rode his motorcycle at high speed. After reaching his destination, Yu Sung-tae took off his helmet and thought, where was Kang Seo weaving in the tail? Yu Sung-tae thought he was pushing full speed, taking it as a competition. What was his surprise when he entered the house? Yu Sun-tae was greeted at the threshold by his wife and his daughter sitting on Kang Seo's shoulders. Kang Seo said for Yu Sun-tae to come in. Yu Sung-tae wondered, when did this guy have time to come here? Ha-yoon said that daddy was late. Lim So-young stated that Kang Seo had been home for 10 minutes. Yu Sun-tae was surprised. 10 minutes is unbelievable. Yu Sung-tae, as promised, allowed the guy to make deliveries without transportation. Yu Sun-tae said that Kang Seo just has to pass the superpower test. I wonder what grade he is? Kang Seo, so that there was no doubt, said that he would pass the test. The young men went to a center where such tests are administered. Yu Sung-tae said as they finally arrived at the appointed place. Kang Seo was surprised to see so many people. However, Kang Seo, as an undocumented citizen who had come from the portal, had a lot of procedures to go through. Some documents had to be filled out. Kang Seo said he had no documents or residence registration. What should he write there? Yu Sun-tae explained that he should write Kang in the last name line and the address of the restaurant next to his residence address. The bureaucracy took them a few more days. Yu Sung-tae thought that he was very tired of this futile moving of papers. But he must see it through to the end, for Kang Seo is their savior. Kang Seo asked his friend, how exactly does this test happen? Yu Sung-tae said that during the test, you should place your hands on 2 balls slightly larger than your fist. An electric current will flow between them. The more electric shock he receives, the lower his level. If he can tolerate the electric shock well, then he is of high level. In other words, high-level awakened ones have high energy potential. Kang Seo asked, "Is it good to have a high class?" Yu Santai replied that if Kang Seo turned out to have a high grade, his life would immediately change for the better. Some especially gifted people are valued as national treasures. In any case, a high class ensures a trouble-free existence. Kang Seo replied that he understood. "If I were our hero, another man would be jumping for joy right now." However, Kang Seo, better than anyone else, knows that wealth and words are corruptible and ashes. Man has many passions and desires, and they are always insatiable. No matter how hard he tries, a lifetime is not enough to satisfy them. The protagonist has grown weary of the world of passions and has withdrawn to live in a remote mountain village. The emperor couldn't allow his peace to be disturbed again. It seemed that from now on, he would have to hide his level more intensely. The young men parted ways. Yu Sung-tai wished his friend good luck. Lastly, Kang Seo turned around and asked his comrade which office the test was in. On the second floor, the elevator announced that the doors were opening. Kang Seo thought it was a self-moving box and had self-opening doors. It also talks. Our hero was greeted at the entrance and asked, "Is his name Kang Seo?" The man said hello and said he was Park Soo-eun, the head of the second department. He would take the testing. The young men said hello by their hands. Park Soo-eun remarked that it had been a long time since they'd had isolationists tested. Kang Seo was restrained and focused. He tried not to lose sight of anything. The chief of the second division said that 10 years ago there was an increase in the number of isolationists, but gradually the government regained control of most of the territory and these cases went down. Park Soo-eun added that the North didn't stand a chance before, and not even now. Kang Seo wondered, what North is this man talking about? The young men came to a door that looked like the door of a safe, and Park Soo-eun said that this is where the testing would take place. According to the grade received, the guy would get a referral for training. Opening the doors, the young men proceeded inside. The department head said that he had brought the test person Kang Seo. The girl in the office said that they were ready to begin. Kang Seo saw the balloons that Yu Sun-tae was talking about. Our hero needed to put his hands on these spheres. It is necessary to try not to move until the test is completed. Kang Seo said he agreed and it wouldn't be a problem for him. The girl announced that she was starting. Kang Seo pointed out that he really didn't feel any electric shock because his body successfully resisted. As Yu Sung-tae said, the stronger his resistance, the higher the level will be registered. Since our hero had his own plan of action, he decided he needed to do something about it. Kang Seo thought that he needed to restrain his inner energy. The girl cut off the tension and said that Mr. Kang Seo could remove his hands. Mr. Kang Seo's result is F-class. F-class means that he is an awakened person who has abilities slightly greater than the average person. Ordinary people are G-class according to the scientific classification. The department head thought that Kang Seo was an isolationist, and he must have been hoping to get a high grade. He must be very disappointed that his grade is only slightly higher than normal people. Kang Seo thought that he had made an oversight. He was trying to lower the resistance enough to get a G-class. Our hero thought he should have gotten smart right away and lowered the resistance to 0. The interlocutor told Kang Seo not to get upset. His class does not determine his worth as a person. Internal security has an awakened support unit. This department deals with matters of high importance and secrecy. Operational groups within the department are divided by number. The first group is in charge of the highest secrecy cases, and further down the line. The department head of the second group is in charge of training isolationists. This is very responsible. Among the isolationists, there are often awakened ones of the higher classes. Even if this prevents them from doing their main work, they are obliged to organize the training of isolationists. A coworker asked Park Soo-eun, the head of the second department, is he recycling again? Park Yoon-soo wondered what brought such a busy first-team supervisor, Baek Yoon-ho, to his department. Baek Yoon-ho said he heard that an order had been signed to organize training for isolationists. He came to ask if his colleague would like to share a night meal with him on this occasion. It was also interesting to hear how the testing went in general. The interlocutor said that this is the first isolationist in many years. The superiors have not commented on this in any way, but they are clearly unhappy with the result. F-class isn't great, but it happens too. This guy is definitely going to have issues due to the isolationism he's experienced. He's better off in a high class. The department head said the interviewer mentioned food. He wouldn't mind a kimbab or something to kill the worm. Baek Yun-ho looked at his colleague meaningfully. He had another suggestion. Baek Yun-ho said he didn't come to his friend's house in the middle of the night to eat cold kimbap in supermarket. He only offers fresh jjajangmyeon and gabaju because they need to eat well. The importance of being a foodie cannot be underestimated. Kang Seo opened his eyes and pulled himself up in bed. Our hero thought that his friends in the spring pavilion were already awake, for it was almost 6 o'clock in the morning. It was a strange feeling, for he didn't feel sleepy. Maybe it was because he had learned so much yesterday. However, there were some nice moments the day before. The day before, after the day's instruction, was dinner. Our hero noted that there was a delicious roll on the plate in front of him. After jjajangmyeon, it was the only dish that surprised him so much. He thought he had tried every possible dish in his past life. Kang Seo thought that he should do something about this fatigue. He should do some key breathing practice. But you can't do that here. Otherwise, people in this building would quickly realize that it's not F-class at all. He was almost declassified by that woman who came to eat at the restaurant. The association building is full of awakened people of different classes working here. There might even be some who have a much better aura sense than that woman. We have to be careful. Our hero wondered why those people felt that way about his training. The training itself, however, was far more meaningful and rewarding than he had realized. Last night, the department head was telling me that an S-class portal suddenly opened and hordes of monsters started coming out of it. A lot of civilians and awakened people got hurt. This incident is referred to as the Great Clash. Mankind managed to defeat the monsters, but the terrain where this war took place became uninhabitable. The area became known as the Ruinous Land. Even criminals do not try to take refuge in it. Kang Seo thought as he stepped out of the portal. He had traveled to this very land and only then found the city. Kang Seo thought, if even 3 or even 2 portals of such a class opened in this land, causing the earth to become cursed, the association wouldn't be able to handle it, and it would be a disaster. The day before, our hero had learned about the structure of society in this country. The society here is like a tower of ill-fitting parts. If he understands correctly, this tower will collapse even a minor shock. And in this situation he appears. A martial artist of a very high level. A quiet and inconspicuous life is almost impossible for him. Even if it is selfishness, he wants to live the rest of his life in peace by all means. He must not let anyone know about his real class. Kang Seo felt a person with very pure energy approaching. It was Park Seo-won. Park Seo-un knocked on the door and inquired, "Mr. Kang Seo, are you awake?" The visitor entered. Our hero, looking at his appearance, noticed that Park Se-woon was very tired. Kang Seo poured boiling water into a cup and scooped instant coffee out of a bag. Kang Seo offered to drink that coffee. Park Seo-woon says that Kang Seo surprises him a lot. He just learned it yesterday, and here he is already practicing brewing coffee the very next day. Our hero said it's all thanks to the department head's training. If he drinks this coffee, he will feel much better. Park Seo-woon took a few sips, and he actually felt better. The case chief thought, is this coffee really from the magic ingredients of the portal? It was as if he had slept soundly and woke up just now. Kang Seo thought that this man was putting his soul into his training, so he decided to give him coffee as a thank you, which energized him. Kang Seo asked the department head what they would be studying today. Park Yun-soo replied that their first class was on canteen. The department head remarked that he had asked for a special menu to be prepared today. The dining room, even in the morning, was quite crowded. It reminded me of a field kitchen in military campaigns. The department head said that the job was a bit like war, so Kang Seo is not far from the truth. But unlike the camping conditions, the portions are bigger. Park Yun-soo said that they can put as much food as they want on the tray. Kang Seo asked if the latecomers didn't have enough food for breakfast. The department head noticed that Mr. Kang Seo is very considerate of others, but he can take it easy. If any dishes run out, the canteen staff will prepare more. To our hero, it seemed incredible. The department head remarked that they were living in an age of plenty after all the wars. Kang Seo said abundance is good, but the other thing that surprises him the most is this. Our hero said he is amazed by the speed of logistics and the amazing technology of canning and long-term food preservation. The department head thought this guy was an isolationist and just had his first day of training yesterday. But he's so strategic, it's unbelievable. Park Yun-soo said it's all thanks to their scientists. Thanks to scientists, they have a huge range of products available to them all the time. For office workers, the canteen is a place of rest and recreation. Kang Seo thought that a meal was always the most enjoyable part of the day. The department head said that he rarely came to the canteen, usually having a quick snack. After the canteen, while in the elevator, the department head asked his interlocutor if he had enjoyed the food. Kang Seo nodded affirmatively. The department head said it was fine and added that he gave a tour of the dining room theme. He thinks that's enough for today. Kang Seo thought that they would still have classes. The department head said there's no way to get this guy in. They're still scheduled to have a course on the gym, but it's not necessary for the F class. You can skip it. Being an F class means you have less responsibility. The department head thought he was cutting classes because of his main job. He is forced to deceive a naive isolationist who does not yet understand anything. Eventually, the young men came to the gym. Anyone with an awakened person's ID card has the right to work out here. Park Yoon-soo added that anyone can come here regardless of their class. Kang Seo saw that both boys and girls were practicing here. Any awakened person can use this room. Only criminal imposters will not be allowed in here. Park Yoon-soo noted that if Kang Seo wanted to train here, that would be fine. However, our hero refused. Park Yoon-soo remarked that it was completely free. He could explain what the gym was for, and it would be clear how useful it was. Kang Seo thanked the interviewer and said he didn't think he needed the training. Park Yoon-soo asked what the guy's future plans are. Kang Seo saw Yoo Sun-tae and Lim So-young off to the side quite by chance. They said hello. Kang Seo thanked his friends for going out of their way to help him. Yoo Sun-tae asked what grade Kang Seo was in. Kang Seo showed his hunter's license and said he had a class F. Lim So-young was surprised because Kang Seo wanted to get a G grade like a normal person. Kang Seo replied that he couldn't contain his inner energy in time and got a higher grade than he wanted. Yoo Sung-tae said that it wasn't bad at all, because his abilities couldn't be overlooked, and an ordinary person couldn't have them. It would attract attention. Kang Seo asked his interlocutors, "Is he really that suspicious?" Lim So-young admitted that he was. Kang Seo was under surveillance from the top floor. The department head asked a co-worker if he noticed anything else unusual about this guy. Park Yoon-soo said he has incredible intelligence and learning ability. There's nothing else unusual about him. To be precise, this guy is very savvy. If a concept is explained to him, he immediately understands how to apply it in different areas. He is a quick learner and is very good at putting what he has learned into practice. The supervisor said that the Group 1 law enforcement unit told him something much more interesting. They said that his movements and sense of balance were not typical of his class. They even had doubts about whether the testing apparatus was damaged. The interlocutor said that after testing, the unit passed another inspection and was fine. This guy was given the class fairly. The investigator remarked that everyone can evolve to the next level, but this guy would never grow to middle class, much less upper class. Does everyone pay so much attention to him because they haven't had an isolationist come in for years? Park Yoon-soo said that he frankly expected a lot more from this guy, and he's disappointed. In the future, this guy would like to help his friend in his restaurant business. Yoo Sung-tae held out a smartphone to Kang Seo and said that with this, he would be able to communicate at any time. Yoo Sun-tae said he bought this gadget with the isolationist's allowance. Is there anything else Kang Seo needs? Kang Seo said that he had been pondering whether he should cut his hair. He hadn't noticed it before, but lately he had noticed that most men in this civilization wear their hair cut short. He doesn't want to stand out. Lim So-young said it was a wonderful idea. What kind of haircut does he want? Kang Seo seems to like short hair. Yoo Sun-tae said that any haircut would suit that guy. Yoo Sung-tae stated that he had to prepare the ingredients for the next day's meal. He thought that when his spouse starts talking about fashion, it's like the lights go out. He believes that Kang Seo can do it. Lim So-young said she was ready to take their guest to the barbershop. On the way out of the barbershop, Yoo Sung-tae said that this guy had been changed so much that he could now be seen from a mile away. Yoo Sung-tae suddenly began to feel some strange, prickly feeling. It was as if the whole street was looking at this guy. The girls were really paying attention to Kang Seo. Who's that handsome guy? He must be some kind of actor. That guy has model looks. Girls came up to our hero and asked him for an autograph and to make a joint photo. Yoo Sung-tae intervened in the conversation and told the girls to excuse them. They had their own plans. Yoo Sung-tae said that this is not some movie star, but a simple guy. No need to ask for his autograph. Kang Seo wondered why he couldn't take pictures with these girls and why this girl wanted his autograph. Yoo Sun-tae said that Kang Seo is so handsome that the girls mistook him for a celebrity, and if you let them take a picture together, they will immediately put the photo on the internet. And if people start sharing his pictures, he'll be recognized on the street, and that will bring nothing but trouble. This isn't the life Kang Seo wanted, is it? Kang Seo thought that Yoo Sung-tae was right, and he would have to be careful. He shouldn't stand out too much in the crowd. The next day came. There were a lot of orders in the restaurant. There were no free tables. So many people ordered jjajangmyeon. Our hero served the tables this time. The restaurant's main customers were girls. Kang Seo wished each of them a pleasant appetite. Kang Seo took the menu and headed to a table that also had girls at it. The girl said she had decided on her order and asked for 2 jjajangmyeon and seafood udon. Kang Seo told the girls to wait. He repeated the order, and Yu Sontai, who was in the kitchen, said the order was accepted. Some of the customers were also ordering gabaju. Kang Seo wrote everything down in his notebook. The work was in full swing. Visitors have commented that the cuisine in this restaurant is excellent. Why didn't they know about it before? One of the girls said that she would be coming here every day in the near future. Her friend agreed and added that she would order jjajangmyeon here every day. One of the girls approached the receptionist and asked if they had any seats available. Lim So-young replied that they were full right now. The girl was upset because she wanted to eat so much. A hungry customer of the restaurant said that in that case, she was willing to wait. Another girl also agreed to join the queue. Lim So-young looked at the line of young people wanting to taste their dishes and told the dear guests that they were almost out of food in the kitchen. They had better come back tomorrow. Many upset faces appeared in front of the administrator. Some of them were even crying. Are they not allowed to eat at this restaurant today? Suddenly, someone said loudly for people to disperse. The girl went to the receptionist and said her name was Kim Ji-eun. She came for a job interview. Lim So-young said hello and said that she was very happy to see the girl. The applicant said her name is Kim Ji-eun. She's 23 years old, a college graduate, and is still looking for a job in her major. Lim So-young said that they were short-handed at the restaurant right now, so they decided to hire another part-time worker. The girl responded to the ad very quickly. Kim Ji-eun can rest assured she has already been hired. Kim Ji-eun stated that Spring Pavilion Restaurant is a very famous establishment and she wants to work here. The receptionist was surprised. Is the restaurant really famous? Kim Ji-eun said that this handsome young man attracts the entire female population here. The new employee inquired about where she should start. Looking at Kim Ji-eun, Kang Seo thought that she was a very interesting girl. She has a very strong aura. Our hero realized that people with high superpowers live well in this civilization. They should be valued, and they should have a different quality of life than regular people. Lim So-young has assigned the new employee to pack portions of pickled radishes. She also has to deliver and take orders. Lim So-young asked that the courier deliver in order, according to this order list, all the food. Kang Seo agreed and said he would be back soon. Our hero put on a motorcycle helmet and said he was going on a delivery. Yu Santai asked if Ji-eun could help him with packing the portions. Ji-eun thought that was strange. When she'd heard about this place, it said that there weren't many visitors. After a while, Kang Seo asked Ji-eun if she was busy. The girl asked if all the orders had been delivered. Kang Seo replied that it wasn't difficult. The addresses were only a stone's throw away. Ji-eun says the guy can pick up the new orders. The jjajangmyeon and jampong are already packed. Kang Seo picked up the order packet and said he was off. After a while, Kang Seo came back with an empty box. He said that all the orders had been delivered. Yu Sontai told the guy to take a seat at the table. For lunchtime, he had already delivered everything. Kang Seo asked Lim So-young if they were already preparing for the evening load-in. Lim So-young confirmed and then immediately realized it was time to pick up Ha-yoon from daycare. Ji-eun asked Lim So-young if she was a girl. Lim So-young confirmed and added that she was 5 years old. Lim So-young asked our hero to pick up Ha-yoon from daycare. They're facing an evening rush of customers and they barely have time to prepare the groceries. Ji-yoon said that she would like to meet Ha-yoon too. Should she go with Kang Seo too? Lim So-young agreed. She and her husband can do it alone. The young people moved along the set route under umbrellas because of the heavy rain. Ji-eun introduced herself to our hero again and asked if she could call him Kang Seo. Kang Seo said he is 35 years old, but the girl can call him whatever she wants. Ji-eun was surprised and said that the guy doesn't look 35 at all. Kang Seo noticed that a lot of people say that to him. Kang Seo apologized for the immodest question, but why did the girl decide to get a job at the Spring Pavilion? With her abilities, one should look for another job. Ji-eun noticed that she didn't actually have powers. Ji-eun added that she didn't have any evil purposes either. She just wanted to look at the young man. Ji-eun pointed her finger forward and said there was someone at the door. The doors of the kindergarten actually opened in front of the young people, and the teacher said that the little girl had come. Ha-Yoon was happy that Kang Seo's uncle had come for her. Ha-Yoon waved at her uncle and greeted him. Kang Seo asked if the girl had a good time here. Ha-Yoon replied that she was interested. Ha-Yoon told the teacher that it was her uncle. The teacher was surprised. The teacher said Ha-Yoon told her a lot about her uncle. The teacher looked at our hero and, frightened, asked if he was all right. The educator asked, "The uncle's companion must be his spouse?" Seeing Ji-eun, the kindergarten teacher wondered, "How did Ji end up here?" Ji covered the teacher's mouth and told Sora to be quiet. Sora asked what about Ji's job in the guild? Ji-eun told Sora not to say too much. This girl's parents think she's just a normal person. She's actually on a mission. We should pretend they don't know each other. Ha-Yoon and the kindergarten teacher said goodbye until the next day. Kang Seo also said goodbye to Sora. Kang Seo, Ji-eun, and Ha-Yoon, each with their own umbrella, were returning home. Kang Seo asked Ji-eun, "Is the kindergarten teacher her friend?" The girl laughed in response. She said that they were really friends. Kang Seo said that he realized they were friends. Why didn't they talk? Ji-eun replied that they already see each other too often. The girl said that walking under an umbrella in the rain is really nice. Ha-Yoon said that she likes to walk under the umbrella too, and added that the beautiful aunt also likes to walk in the rain. Ji-eun smiled and said she liked walking with her uncle better. Kang Seo asked if it was hard for Ha-Yoon to carry her umbrella. Ha-Yoon replied that it's not hard for her. She wants to carry it herself. Kang Seo warned the girl. If she wanted his help, she should tell him. While passing by an underpass, Ha-Yoon noticed something and told her uncle to see who was there. Ha-Yoon turned around and ran in that direction, shouting for her uncle to see what it was. Ha-Yoon stopped and said that it was beeping. Kang Seo walked over and asked, "Is it really a squeak? It must be a mouse. But why is it getting wet in the rain?" Ji-eun said it's not a simple mouse. It's a rodent called a dungeon rat. Kang Seo took the dungeon rat in his arms. The animal was frozen and wet. Kang Seo asked, "Is the dungeon rat a magical beast?" Ji-eun replied that this rat dwells in the dungeon but is not a magical creature. Unlike magical beasts, it has no animosity towards humans and does not try to harm them. This rat has a keen sense of its natural enemies, magical beasts and monsters. Due to its skills and cute exterior, this animal has become a favorite among hunters. Many domesticate them. She must have gone into the portal with her master and they had an accident. When she was wounded, she somehow made it out of the portal. Ha-Yoon shouted that she didn't want this rat to die. Can't they cure it? Kang Seo said that this animal would not be easy to save. Ha-Yoon said that this rat is still alive. If it's breathing, they shouldn't abandon it. The protagonist thought how blind he was. He said she was going to die anyway, even though she was still breathing. After much doubt, he decided that all life was certainly valuable. Otherwise, how would he be different from himself in the past, from the cold-blooded assassin he was? Kang Seo agreed with the girl and said they would take the rat with them. Ji-eun told the girl that they would rush to the restaurant and try to save that rat. Kang Seo noticed that the animal was in a very bad condition, barely breathing. If they don't hurry, they might be too late. Ha-Yoon was afraid of what to do. Kang Seo scanned the rat and determined that its breathing and heartbeat were weak. It's like it's fading away. Kang Seo wondered if he should breathe life into her. Ji-eun watched the guy carefully. When Ha-Yoon and the adults returned to the restaurant, she immediately ran to her parents. Lim So-young wondered why the girl was crying. Ha-Yoon shouted that they needed help. The girl's parents looked at the beast that was in Kang Seo's hands in surprise. Yu Suntae wondered where they found the dungeon rat. Kang Seo replied that they found the rat in the dungeon. Yu Suntae inquired, "What's wrong with her? She looks like she was attacked in a portal not far from here. She can barely breathe." Ha-Yoon responsibly declared that she would rescue this rat and take it for herself. Lim So-young tried to explain to her daughter that it wasn't a hamster, it was a dungeon rat. If they didn't find it in the dungeon inside the portal but outside, it must have an owner. Its owner is probably already searching for it and is worried about it. Kang Seo said they should treat the rat first. Yu Santai said they should look for a veterinary clinic nearby. Two young men entered the restaurant and said hello. The director of the restaurant greeted the visitors. Yu Sung-tae said for Mr. Beck and his companion to sit down. Didn't they come to eat? Mr. Beck was surprised to see a dungeon rat. The principal said his daughter found this rat outside. It looks like it's hurt. Mr. Beck looked at the beast and said it looked like this rat was pretty badly injured. Mr. Beck took the rat in his arms and said he would try to help. Mr. Beck said the animal received very professional first aid. She's in much better condition than she appeared at first glance. Fortunately, this rat is out of critical condition. He'll just add some of his energy. When our hero first saw this man, he immediately realized that he was gifted. But he had no idea that he had such mystical power in his hands. He gathers energy from the environment and turns it into healing power. He must be a healer. Mr. Beck's colleague said it was their known hitter. The famous hitman gave the animal to the girl in his hands. Ha-Yoon. Mr. Beck said this little girl was very lucky. Kang Seo thought that the strength of these awakened ones was truly incredible. Yu Suntae asked his daughter what she was doing. Ha-Yoon replied that she was looking after the rat. She did seem to be feeling better. Ha-Yoon shouted that the beast had moved. Yu Suntae took a closer look and agreed with his daughter. The observers decided that the rat might want milk by pouring a drink into its bowl. Yu Suntae told his daughter that the rat was eating and it was time for her to wash her hands and start eating. Suddenly, the animal began to thrash and squeak. What's wrong with him? The adults thought. Kang Seo thought the rat wanted to tell him something. Yu Suntae wondered, what's with the animal? Kang Seo explained that the animal wanted to show him something and was leading him somewhere. The rat couldn't calm down and kept thrashing around. It definitely wanted to go somewhere. Kang Seo thought that it was a very intelligent animal. It was strange that it didn't have a master. Something must have happened. Yu Suntae suggested that his friend go and check things out. Yu Suntae said that Kang Seo is the one who is the speed walker. He just has to check to see what happened. Yu Suntae said that they can't ignore that signal. Otherwise, his daughter would be upset. Ha-Yoon looked at Uncle Kang Seo. She hoped he would help her and that rat. Our hero agrees for Ha-Yoon's sake and adds that there's something that's been bugging him too. Kang Seo saw a strange energy around this animal. Yu Suntae didn't understand what kind of energy he was talking about. Kang Seo noticed that he had seen this kind of energy before, but he didn't understand what it was yet. Kang Seo offered to show the rat the way, for the beast knows where to go. Yu Suntae told his friend to be careful. Ha-Yoon wished her uncle good luck. Kang Seo walked out of the building and quickly headed in the direction where the strange energy was oozing from. After arriving at the place, Kang Seo thought that it looked like the portal he had come out of in this world. It was indeed a portal. In the portal, the monsters continued to advance and attack the fighters of the invisible front. There were only 4 people left, and the number of monsters didn't decrease. The leader of the group apologized and said she would soon be exhausted and could no longer maintain the barrier. Her co-worker thought that was really the end of it. He was glad he had the chance to work with these guys. The young people started saying goodbye to each other and joking around as much as they could in the situation. The group commander thought that only an S-rank hunter could save them. But that was only pipe dreams. Suddenly, the people listened and heard the squeak of a small animal. Something has happened to the monsters. Some unknown force has begun their systematic destruction. When the light appeared, the people saw that all the monsters had been destroyed. The 4 heroes looked around and couldn't understand how this had happened. What happened to the monsters? They just surrounded them, and suddenly it was such a shock. The group leader asked if her co-workers had heard the karanga squeak. At this time, Kang Seo was boldly massacring the remaining monsters. Kang Seo also left only destroyed monsters around him. Last time our hero didn't kill all the monsters in the portal, the smaller ones survived. That's why the portal didn't close. Kang Seo thought that this time he would see it through to the end. However, one terrifying monster was coming up from behind. Kang Seo spotted the villain just in time. He thought that the core of these monsters was in the head, so he had to hit the head. Kang Seo realized that there was still negative energy in this portal that helped the monsters fight. The boy walked over to the sword. He thought that the monsters had destroyed some warrior in this place. The only thing left was the sword. Kang Seo decided that he would borrow that sword. Taking the weapon in his hands, the protagonist decided to continue destroying monsters and avenge his owner. The monsters continued to approach, but Kang Seo was now armed and posed an even greater danger. Breaking through the monsters, Kang Seo reached the source of the strange demonic energy. The energy was coming from outside the door. Kang Seo opened the huge doors and walked inside. Someone huge asked, "Who is this?" A huge knight was in the room and asked how this man dared to disturb his peace. This he would not forgive anyone. The monster pounced on the hero, declaring that people like him should be destroyed. This was the first time Kang Seo had seen such a creature. A knight holding his own head in his hand. Kang Seo noticed that his opponent had a rather unique appearance. The sinister knight said that the man would pay for his taunt. The knight with his head in his hand climbed high up in the cave. Kang Seo watched him. The villain stated that he intended to destroy his opponent with a single blow. Kang Seo thought that the head might be a vulnerable spot. The knight began to descend directly on his opponent and said that this insolent worm would be destroyed. Kang Seo was ready to fight. After a violent collision, the knight's head was shattered and a crystal fell out of it, which rolled and stopped near our hero's feet. Taking this crystal in his hands, the boy thought that it must be the source of that energy. It must be what they call magic stones in this world. A rat peeked out of the guy's pocket and squeaked. Kang Seo told the beast that he had eliminated everything that posed a threat. Kang Seo said that the portal would close soon and suggested that the beast run to its master. Kang Seo added, telling the beast to take care of itself. In response, the dungeon rat squeaked again. The beast turned and ran off into the darkness. The boy thought that the girl would probably be upset. This dungeon was too strange. The beast ran up to the warriors and began to look at them. One of them said that this dungeon was identified as a C-class dungeon for some reason. But how did a B-class monster end up here? They still couldn't figure out what had saved them. Could it have been the S-class hunter that had saved them? However, all the S-class hunters they've seen exude incredible power. If one appeared in this dungeon, they would sense it immediately. Could it be the awakened Class 0 they've heard about? The warriors saw the beast fidgeting in one place. It was true. Korongi had survived. She was looking for someone. The group's leader said she was looking for Serk-hoon. However, he died. The beast ran up to the warrior's body and began to squeak pitifully. Suddenly, there were some sounds. What's going on? The guy said that this portal had already been emptied. Soon, the portal would close. They had to quickly collect magic stones, whoever they could. They agreed to meet at the exit in exactly 20 minutes. Information has come through that a special forces team is coming out of the portal. We need to give them all the support we can. At the portal exit, there were already representatives from the TV station reporting for the hunting news. Keikorangi had already managed to get outside and was watching the rescue of the special forces squad from the side. Keikorangi sat in the rain again and cried. Ha-yoon sat sad beside the empty box. Yu Sung-tae said that the rat had returned to its master. It would be better that way. The girl sadly replied that she knew. Ha-yoon said she won't see that rat again, so she's very sad. Finally, Kang Seo entered the room. He asked why Ha-yoon was so sad. Yu Sung-tae said that the girl never said goodbye to that rat. A rat came out of Kang Seo's breast pocket and squeaked softly. Ha-yoon happily hugged this animal. Kang Seo said that the name of this dungeon rat was Korongi. The guy added that it looked like her master had taken her with him on a monster-sweeping mission and they both got hurt. Yu Sung-tae inquired, "What happened?" Kang Seo said that he found the owner of the rat dead. Nothing could be done anymore. It had been a long time since his death. Yu Sung-tae wondered, did Kang Seo really go to the dungeon? Kang Seo confirmed it. Yu Sung-tae said that the portal must be cleared soon. Kang Seo said that he had already cleared that portal and then disappeared unnoticed. Yu Sung-tae thought, what grade is Kang Seo really? Maybe Class A or Class S like the legendary hunter Li Xin? Our hero had a chance to interact with hunters when he was working as a loader. Except for the unrivaled hunter Li Xin, no one could enter the portal and clear it alone. However, Kang Seo does not emit such a powerful aura like Li Xin. If Kang Seo hides his aura so well, he must be the zero-grade awakened that everyone is talking about. Ha-yoon hooked a bow on Korongi's head and showed it to her parents. Her father said that the animal now looked like a princess. Yu Sung-tae thought, what is he worrying about? Even if Kang Seo is a level 0 awakened person, he's still his friend after all. Nothing bad is going to happen. You just have to think of the good things. Ha-yoon, Yu Sung-tae, and Kang Seo decided to keep the dungeon rat for themselves, so they got caught up with Lim So-young. Kang Seo woke up in the morning and got out of bed. It was his day off, and he was wondering whether to work out or look for a job for a few hours. The girl said that Kang Seo only works all the time because he doesn't know how to rest. Why is it so hard for him to just rest? One has to do what one wants to do. It's stupid to work when he should be resting. Kang Seo thought that's what she would have told him right now. Our hero decided to look at his trophy. An imperceptible alien energy was emitting from the crystal. The people of this civilization use the energy of these stones. Their energy was similar to the dark magic used by the followers of the heavenly demon cult. This magic was forbidden in the magic community. The energy was obtained through human sacrifice. Our hero has decided that he cannot keep this dangerous object with him. For now, he decided to seal its energy. Yu Sung-tae was already on his feet, however. He noticed that Kang Seo had woken up early. Kang Seo said that Yu Suntai woke up early too. It's a day off, right? Is he really going to chop the ingredients anyway? Yu Suntai replied that he's a chef and he should be responsible and chop at least the onions for tomorrow. He asked what Kang Seo would be doing on his first day off. Yu Suntai suggested that the guy go to the library with Ha-yoon. Kang Seo did so. Taking the girl in his arms, he went to the library. Looking around, the protagonist thought that there were places in this world where anyone could read valuable folios. Ha-yoon told her uncle that she wanted to check out books. Kang Seo told her not to run around the library and to come back as soon as she picked out interesting books. Our hero thought this library was comfortable and had an incredible number of books. Ha-yoon asked the library staff member to give her the book she was interested in, a book with fairy tales. Kang Seo pointed out that the girl was helping a young library staff member. Kang Seo sensed an unusual aura from this library employee. He must be an awakened person as well. It was quite a strong aura for his age. Kang Seo didn't know what was going on in this guy's life, but it was obvious from him that he was having a hard time. The library staff member wasn't as strong as Ji-eun, but he has ability. Why is he slacking off in this insignificant position? Ha-yoon asked the library staff member, "Is he not feeling well?" The guy was surprised. Is it really written all over his face? Ha-yoon stated that her uncle was worried about this person too. The library staff member was surprised. Why? The library staff member looked at Ha-yoon's companion and recognized him. It was the delivery boy from Spring Pavilion. Kang Seo approached a library employee and wondered, is he really known? The library employee said that this guy is very popular on social media. He likes women and he delivers in an instant, even though he's a foot courier. The librarian asked Kang Seo, "He's an awakened person, right? Is it possible to find out what grade he is?" Kang Seo replied that he was F grade. The young people got to talking, and the library staff member told his interlocutor about his life. Kang Seo realized that raids are only allowed from a certain age, so this guy has to make a living. This guy said that's why he takes any job they give him. He's also volunteering at the library because he'll get scholarship money for it. Kang Seo wondered, isn't there someone who can help him with such abilities? The library staff member said his class is a C. It's not a bad class and it's not a good class. That's why no one will sponsor him. The library staff member added that unlike Kang Seo, he has no special abilities. Because he's not good at anything, his mother lives in poverty. Kang Seo said that class doesn't solve everything in life. After all, an interlocutor can raise it. The librarian was surprised because that doesn't happen. Kang Seo asks if his interlocutor has tried upgrading. He gives up without even trying. Doesn't he want to get stronger? The library staff member said that of course he wants to get stronger, but he doesn't know how. Kang Seo stated that he could teach him. In return, our hero asked the interlocutor to find him information about a country. The librarian asked what country he was talking about. Kang Seo said he needed to learn about the OK dynasty. This is the first time a library staff member has heard of this state. He will try to find information about it. Kang Seo thought that if he had traveled through time, there should be information about history by the OK dynasty. This logically explained why the magic of the OK dynasty and the magic of this time were so similar, even though they were called by different names. The library staff member went through the entire history book. Not a single dynasty matched. The guy told the interviewer that he had reviewed all the dynasties already. However, there is no such dynasty as OK. The library staff member said with certainty that no history textbook said anything about this dynasty. Kang Seo thought, Sun Ming Qing. These dynasties sounded similar to their civilization. However, he had never heard of them either. So, among the kingdoms of the past on this earth, there was never a period of the OK dynasty. A library staff member asked if his interlocutor was okay. Kang Seo replied that he was fine, just thinking. Kang Seo thanked the guy for his help and invited him to the Spring Pavilion restaurant. He promised to treat the jjajangmyeon there. The librarian said it didn't cost him anything and he didn't need any thanks. Kang Seo thought that he hadn't gotten the information he was hoping for. But one thing was clear to him. He hadn't traveled through time, and he hadn't been bewitched by the mages of the heavenly demon sect. Then how did he get here? Our hero recalled how the man gave the child some object and said it was apparently a relic of his great-grandfather. The man added, "One day the girl needs to find her and then she can go home." Kang Seo was surprised. What is this strange memory? But there was no need for him to hurry. One day, everything would become clear to him. Meanwhile, someone was sauntering near the restaurant. This unknown person approached the motorcycle and decided to unscrew something in it to permanently discourage the owner from riding the motorcycle. This unknown person said that Sang-wook asked him to do it, so don't blame him for it. Kang Seo walked up behind the unknown person and asked who this Sang-wook was. The guy got scared, turned around and asked who it was. Our hero said that you can't shout at such a late hour. The unknown man repeated the question. Kang Seo replied that he was a courier from the Spring Pavilion. The guy realized that the new courier of this restaurant was in front of him. He said that Sang-wook intended to make an offer to the owner of this place. Therefore, the delivery boy should start looking for another job. The young man said that Mr. Sang-wook is making good money in the area and he is fed up with this successful restaurant. Kang Seo said that Mr. Sang-wook shouldn't care about this restaurant. The interlocutor wondered where this guy got so arrogant from. The bully said he was about to bring this delivery man to his senses and swung around to hit him with his fist. However, our hero grabbed his opponent's fist and twisted his arm. The bully wondered, why is this messenger so strong? Kang Seo said that this guy himself could use some time to come to his senses. Kang Seo flicked his opponent in the forehead and he flew far backwards, rolling across the road. Kang Seo says that this guy can send a message to his stupid Sang-wook. Kang Seo tells the bully to tell Sang-wook not to touch the Spring Pavilion restaurant. The frightened bully ran away, and on the way shouted that he would deliver the message. The former Spring Pavilion delivery man was perplexed as to why he still hadn't gotten a call. The guy ran up to Sang-wook's former delivery boy and said Dong Man is back. He's worth a look. Sung Man, battered, barely made it to Sang-wook. Sang-wook was surprised. He'd given this guy a chance, and he was at it again. All he had to do was loosen the nuts on his motorcycle, and he came back like a beaten dog. Dong Man knelt down and said that the new delivery man at that restaurant was not an easy person. This is the first time he's met such a monster. That delivery man told them not to even look at Spring Pavilion or he wouldn't leave it like that. Sang-wook said angrily that it was no wonder that this guy had been kicked in the gun. Dong Man justified himself and repeated that the courier was a real monster. Sang-wook said that in that case, they would all go together and teach him a lesson. After all, it's high time for them to warm up. Sang-wook called on the phone and said that it was necessary to gather everyone. They're going to go look at this new courier. The courier arrived with the order and put it in front of the customer. The customers were young men with bats in their hands. Taking the food out of the boxes, the courier asked where he could pick up the dishes afterwards. The customer wondered which dishes we were talking about. Nothing. Has this courier still not understood anything? One of the customers, kneading his hands, said that he would have to work with his fists. They said that this courier had beaten their dongman badly. The customer scattered boxes of orders with his feet and said that this courier had really upset their boss. The courier asked the caller, "Is he the same Don Man?" Dong Man, who was nearby, said he had relayed everything to his boss. The ringleader told this courier to talk less. The villain grabbed his helmet with his hand and said it was time to take that helmet off. Kang Seo took the bully's hand and said that he wouldn't advise such a weakling to talk to stronger people like that. Kang Seo squeezed his opponent's hand with force and said that Dong Man must have relayed the warning to them. The bully cried out in pain that his arm was very sore. However, our hero did not let go of his arm. Kang Seo looked at his opponents and said that he would have to teach them all a good lesson. After a while, Kang Seo returned to the restaurant. Yu Suntai asked who had made this morning's order. Kang Seo replied that there were people who wanted to have a good meal in the morning. Kang Seo added that those people liked it and they even washed the dishes themselves. Yu Suntai was surprised that even the plates were clean. Kang Seo said that he had one question for Yu Suntai. Kang Seo asked if Yu Suntai knew a man named Gu Sang-wook and what he had to do with the restaurant. Yu Suntai wondered how the guy knew about that rascal. Yu Sungtae said that the man was a courier before Kang Seo. He constantly shirked his work and demanded a pay raise. Kang Seo said he had a conflict because one of the customers was an acquaintance of his. Kang Seo added that they were behaving inappropriately, so they had to be taught a little lesson. Yu Suntai was surprised. The restaurant manager thought that his courier was so strong, he must have taught them not a little bit of a lesson at all. During the showdown with our hero, one of the bullies told the others to attack him and teach him a lesson. However, our hero, using extra energy and his magical abilities, scattered the bullies in different directions. Kang Seo didn't take Lem off, walking up to Dong Man and his associate. Dong Man, frightened, told his boss that he had warned them that they would be in trouble if they came here. Kang Seo concentrated the energy in the fingers of his hand. Kang Seo leaned his fingers against his opponent's body and told him to repeat after him out loud. Kang Seo looked straight into the bully's eyes and said the words the bully repeated exactly. The bully repeated that he would never again plot evil against the owners of the Spring Pavilion. Having dealt with these villains, our hero asked if that meant they had some other leader. Dongman asked if this was about Sang-wook. Dongman continued that Sang-wook said he would watch from the corner, but he didn't know where exactly this Sang-wook was. Sang-wook, watching from around the corner, thought it was necessary to get out of here quickly. After running a fair distance away, Sang-wook thought that no one would catch up to him now. Suddenly, a courier wearing a helmet appeared in front of the villain and wondered why he was running so slowly. Sang-wook said that the guy in the helmet scared him. Sang-wook got scared and asked his opponent who he was and why he was attacking people for some harmless prank. If he's a thug, then we'll have to call the police. The courier said that some person comes in the middle of the night and tries to disable the motorcycle. What other pranks did Sang-wook have in mind? Sang-wook wondered, what could this courier do to him? Kang Seo said that diseased branches should be cut off before they infect the whole tree. Sang-wook was frightened and shouted for his opponent to stay away from him. Then he screamed in fear for a long time. Yu Song-tae was at his restaurant preparing ingredients for a future meal. The smartphone on the table received a message. The message was from Sang-wook. That rascal apologized to the restaurant manager for all the bad things he did. Kang Seo asked his friend, was it Sang-wook who sent him the message? Yu Son-tae confirmed that the rascal said he wouldn't bother him anymore. He'll go back to his village and work on the farm. Yu Song-tae wondered how his friend managed to raise this scumbag. Kang Seo said he just talked to him. Yu Song-tae thought he might be a rascal, but he was once part of the Spring Pavilion team. It was good that he had come to his senses. Ji-eun entered the room and said hello to the young people. The director apologized for having to call her in on her day off. Yu Son-tae said that if Ji-eun hadn't agreed to help, they would have had an emergency. The girl replied that she didn't have any plans for today. Yu Song-tae scratched the back of his head and said that they were short-handed. His wife and daughter went to a kindergarten event. Kang Seo explained that today was tree planting day. Ji-eun said her younger brother is also going to plant trees today as a charity. Kang Seo wondered if her brother was interested in volunteering. Ji-eun added that he was just very kind. Ji-eun offered to get to work without further ado. She thought Kang Seo was annoying her by constantly asking uncomfortable questions. Yu Son-tae hoped that Lim So-young and Ha-yoon would have a good time. He's not used to being at home when no one is home, even feeling lonely somehow. Kang Seo said that the squeaky rat has also been bored lately. Yu Song-tae said that new portals have been opening up in the mountains recently. He hopes that his family will be safe. Ji-eun remarked that the Hunters Association is providing security at the party, so there's no need to worry. The Rostochek kindergarten is also supervised by the association. They send strong hunters to work there, so the children won't be threatened even by an A-class portal. Yu Son-tae said that Ji-eun's words reassure him. The restaurant manager wondered how Ji-eun knew all this. He had worked as a loader in the association for a long time, but he didn't know it. Ji-eun hinted that she can't talk about it, it's a secret. A young man is riding in the back seat of a car on an expressway. He expresses his dissatisfaction at not being able to enjoy the day off and the nice weather. Why has he been called out today? The guy added that the event was to be attended by Ji-eun. A co-worker sitting next to her said that the young lady had some urgent business to attend to, and she asked to send the person who brings the least to the event. The girl added that it wasn't hard to guess that the young mistress was talking about her interlocutor. She asked if he hoped the young man knew he was going to the event for a reason. The girl added that some important person will come to this celebration, an influential figure in the association. This is his chance to make an impression. She speaks of the only S-class artifact craftsman in the entire country, Seo Chul. The boy was surprised. Had he really come here just to make an impression? The girl said that the master had a business meeting here. Did her interlocutor not read the additional materials that were sent to him? The young man wondered what materials we were talking about. The companion said that if the guy continued like this, she would be forced to lend the young mistress. The companion asked not to do that. The guy added that in that case, it would take Ji-eun to literally and figuratively destroy him. The girl said that the young man was exaggerating. The companion repeated that the guy should make a good impression on Master Seo Chul today. Finding Awakened Zero is as important as building a relationship with a famous artifact master. The car stopped and the girl said that they had arrived. Now it was necessary to greet the master. The guy was surprised. Could he just walk up to him like that? The young man still got out of the car and approached the old man. He said hello to the elder and introduced himself. He is Kim Ho-yoon from the Red Dragon Guild. His father had told him a lot about Seo Chul. The old man asked, "Is this guy Hai Chul's son?" The young man said he was honored to meet the elder. The old man extended his hand and said it was a pleasure to meet him and invited the young man to go have fun at the event. Seo Chul asked him not to interfere with his grandson. The boy thought the rumors were true. The old man was a rather unpleasant person. The assistant elder apologized to the guy and said that the master wasn't always prepared for such situations. The companion met the boy near the car and said that she did not expect anything else from him. The young man noticed that his sister knew it would be like this. Why had she sent him? He didn't wonder where his sister could go on such a crucial day, dumping all the responsibilities on her younger brother. The assistant said that the young lady went to socialize with her idol. Ji Yoon was in the middle of preparing food for the restaurant the next day with Kang Seo. Kang Seo carved a small toy for the girl with a knife. He asked, "So she was upset that there was no bunny trowel?" Our hero handed the girl a bunny carved out of wood and said she would have her own bunny. Ha-yoon was happy and said that her uncle was the best. After a while, Ha-yoon stood there crying bitterly. Ha-yoon was playing on the lawn with her peers. Her toy was broken. The girlfriend told the boys that she had warned them to be careful with that spatula. The boys apologized to Ha-yoon. Ha-yoon kept crying because her uncle had made this bunny for her. Now the bunny was broken. Elder Seo Chul approached the children and asked the girl if she wanted him to fix her toy. Seo Chul asked, "Can Grandpa do it?" The old man nodded affirmatively. Seo Chul added that Grandpa can do anything. He picked up the trowel on which the bunny was attached and tried to fix the toy. The old man looked at this toy and thought it was an unusual work. "I wonder what kind of craftsman made it." A young man came up to them and said that he had brought the elder's scroll. The old man called Yoon-sik over and showed him the toy. He remarked that it was very skillful work. The old man wondered if any of his students were capable of such filigree work. For him, such a piece would be difficult to replicate. The elder told the girl that her uncle apparently loves her very much. Ha-yoon replied that she loved her uncle very much too. Seo Chul said that her uncle tried very hard, so he will fix the item. The old man exhaled magical energy, and it hit that bunny attached to the handle of the blade. Seo Chul gave the girl the toy and said it was already okay. Ha-yoon was happy and thanked her grandfather. The young men watched from the sidelines as the elder interacted with the children. The boy said that this master needed a special approach. He added that he had an idea. "We should give a command to the assistants to change their strategy toward Master Seo Chul." Recently, Kang Seo has made it a habit, when he receives his isolationist allowance, to go straight to the bakery to buy a delicious roll, which he first tasted during his training at the association. Kang Seo walked into the bakery from the threshold saying hello and asked the owner if there were any rolls today. The guy behind the cash register said hello to the visitor. Kang Seo walked around the shop and saw that the rolls had run out. The vendor said that the rolls had already been sold out. The vendor smiled and added that he had one portion set aside especially for Kang Seo. Kang Seo was happy and said that he was a kind man who often helped him out. The vendor reminded him that if the roll was all eaten today, the leftovers should be put in the refrigerator overnight. Kang Seo thanked the salesman and headed for the exit. The salesman said he would be happy to see the young man next time. While leaving the store, our hero held the door open as a female customer entered the store. The salesman said hello to Mi Si. He said it was a great day for a picnic. Kang Seo watched the seller and the female buyer from the side for a while. When Kang Seo brought the roll home, the first thing he did was to put it in the refrigerator. A squeaky rat sat on his shoulder. Kang Seo said that the beeper had already eaten a piece of the roll. If she wants more, she has to wait until tomorrow so they can eat it together at breakfast. At night, our hero slept peacefully in bed. The squeaker was also resting next to the pillow. At some point, some sound came to the beeper's ears. The rat jumped off the bed and followed in the direction the sound came from. The rat saw an open refrigerator. Without much difficulty, she jumped onto the shelf where there was a box of rolls. The squeaker was surprised. The box was empty. Instead of a roll, there were only crumbs. Kang Seo, who approached the refrigerator, saw an empty box and a rat sitting next to it. In the morning, Kang Seo told the news about the roll and the rat. Yu Suntai was surprised. Did the squeaker eat the whole roll by itself? Kang Seo said the rat denies everything, but it's obvious who's to blame, isn't it? The door to the restaurant opened and a visitor appeared on the doorstep. Yu Sung-tai stood up from his seat and greeted the guest. Yu Sun-tai was surprised to see Hayuk Hayungnim in front of him. He asked, "What are you doing here?" Hyuk said he came here for a beer and brought a roll with him. The guy added that he was having a long and serious conversation, so he brought a roll with him, a bribe of sorts. Yu Sangtae asked the person he was talking to what happened to him. There's no face on him. A guest asked Yu Sangtae how he confessed his love to his wife. The guy said she often sits or is in the bakery. She's a beautiful and nice girl. He has been in love with her for 3 months. He doesn't know what to do if he confesses his love to her. He's afraid Misi will start avoiding him. Hyuk even cried. After all, he's not handsome like Kang Seo. How could someone like him ask a beautiful girl to date him? The guest said he made a mistake and put his head down on the table. Yu Sung-tae noticed that it was a reaction to a large amount of alcohol. What should be done with him now? He should go back home and go to bed there. Kang Seo offered to put this guy to sleep in his room. Yu Sun-tae asked if it would be a problem for Kang Seo. Kang Seo replied that it wouldn't be a problem, and he owed the guy a debt of gratitude for always saving a role for him. Hyuk was sleeping in our hero's bed. Kang Seo was sitting not far away in the room, resting in the lotus posture. Suddenly, the squeaker woke up and showed some incomprehensible activity. Kang Seo wondered what was going on. Squeaky jumped to the floor and ran out of the room. Our hero followed her. Kang Seo walked over to the refrigerator and opened it. There was a little girl with wings on her back sitting beside the roll, devouring the roll. Kang Seo asked who she was and what she was doing here. The girl looked around and only now noticed the guy with the rat on his shoulder. In the morning, the adults placed the creature on the table and began asking questions. So she was the one stealing the sweet roll from the refrigerator? The girl said her name was Du Sun. She apologized for her bad deed. Yu Sun-tae wondered how they had a flower fairy in their kitchen, since they were usually attracted to flowers or honey. Kang Seo inquired about the flower fairy. Yu Sung-tae explained that fairies were humanoid spirits that lived in portals. With the advent of portals, they began to settle in cities. Magical monsters were exterminated, but nobody touched the fairies because they do not harm humans and sometimes even help. So they settled in protected cities. Kang Seo asked, "Are they creatures like their rat squeaker?" Yu Sung-tae said that there were some bad fairies, but they weren't really dangerous. Kang Seo looked at this fairy and said that he would forgive her this time, but only that she shouldn't steal the roll anymore. The fairy said she was ashamed, but she wanted to eat, and for that she was willing to work. Lim So-young wondered, how could the flower fairy help in an Oriental cuisine restaurant? Hyuk said he could use that fairy. Yu Sun-tae said it looked like they wanted to dump all the responsibility on the young man. Kang Seo suggested that he would train Hyuk, and in return, he would hire the fairy. Lim So-young got excited and said that it was a pretty good idea. A man in good shape certainly wins a woman's heart. Hyuk got excited and told Kang Seo to teach him everything. He's been running his appearance for a long time and it doesn't give him confidence. Kang Seo said it's about time. He will finally have someone to train with. Hyuk said he was ready to start any time. Kang Seo promised that the two of them would have fun. The young people walked around the mall. Kang Seo told Lim So-young because she had asked her not to tell Ha-yoon and Yu Sung-tae. Why did they come here then? Lim So-young said it's her husband's birthday the day after tomorrow. Ji-eun replied, then it makes sense now. Lim So-young added that she wants to buy her husband a gift but isn't sure what to get him. Ji-eun said that Madam doesn't have to worry, she will help. Ji-eun thought that she's never had an opportunity like this before, not even with her friends. This is wonderful. Ji-eun thought that going shopping with Kang Seo would be pretty interesting. Kang Seo thought that he still felt like he was on a date even though Lim So-young was with them. Lim So-young once again asked Kang Seo not to say a word to her husband. They hide the gifts in his room. Ji-eun asked Madam what gift she wants to give her husband. Lim So-young said she's thinking of buying him shoes, but she's not sure if he'll wear them. Ji-eun suggested buying vitamins or supplements as a gift for the boss, since the boss has been getting tired a lot lately. Lim So-young liked the idea, thinking that Ji-eun was a better gift giver. Kang Seo asked if Lim So-young would mind if he went shopping with the girls. It was suggested that the young man wears sunglasses and a cap. That way, people wouldn't see how handsome he was. Ji-eun walked over to the plush toy and said that she thought Ha-yoon would like it. Kang Seo agreed with that assumption. A siren sounded in the mall. A message was sounded for all shoppers to stay in their seats. Someone said there were illegals. Ji-eun explained that illegitimate refers to awakened ones who use their abilities to commit crimes. It turns out that not all awakened people have the same aura color. Our hero saw the criminal and thought that he had never seen such an aura color as this man's before. This seemed odd. The illegals can't help but know that the guards have activated a barrier around the mall, and no one can get through it except those who put it up. Kang Seo wondered, if they knew, then why commit crimes? Could they have some other agenda? Ji-eun suggested that it could be a distraction. Perhaps they have other goals in mind. Kang Seo asked his companion if there were magic stones stored in the basement of the building. Ji-eun suggested that there must be a lot of A-grade stones in such a large shopping center. Ji-eun stated that the guards have everything under control. They will definitely handle it. Lim So-young began to worry. What should they do? It looked like they would be late to pick up their daughter at the daycare center. She couldn't get through to her cell phone either. There was no connection. Our hero realized that he had no choice. He had to help them. Kang Seo told Ji-eun to stay with Lim So-young. Ji-eun warned the guy to be careful. The protagonist, wasting no time, went through the service staircase to the lower floor. On the way, he saw the guards bleeding and lying on the floor. What had happened here? Our hero, using his inner energy, gave first aid to the injured and saved them from death. But all of them were still in critical condition. Kang Seo noticed that there were bandits in the next room. However, he could only sense a hostile aura from one man with a sword. Kang Seo instantly infiltrated this room and used his unique abilities to deactivate all the criminals. Now there was no one for him to interrogate, but he would still find out from the rumors what had happened here. Our hero thought he would leave the rest to the association. The mall was discussing the latest news. The men in black clothes were only a distraction to steal the stones. The receptionist told Ying-woo Saya to apprehend those involved in the shoplifting. The receptionist told the two men to follow her, and to avoid wasting time on the elevator, jumped from the top floor straight down. Armed with knives, these men approached the room where the jewelry was kept. They rushed inside, but what was their surprise when they saw that all the brigands were deactivated and lying unconscious? What had happened here? Who had dealt with these robbers? Kang Seo told his friend that it was his birthday today, but Yu Sontai was still all about work. The restaurant manager wondered, what's the big deal about these birthdays? Kang Seo noticed that for everyone around him, this day was not quite ordinary. His wife and daughter entered the room and wished Yu Seontai a happy birthday. Lim So-young was holding a birthday cake. Everyone together, and even the squeaker rat, wished Yu Song-tae a happy birthday. Ji-eun, Hayuk, and Flower Fairy also came to the party with gifts. Yu Song-tae was very moved, and even had tears in his eyes. The guests told him to light the candles quickly. A few days later, Yu Seontai went to the calendar and said that today was a holiday. Kang Seo agreed, and added that today was Children's Day. Yu Sung-tae remarked that since it was a day off, they would make good money today. Our hero said that he read that this day is dedicated to children. By the way, Hayun is also a child. Yu Son-tae said he was going to go to an illusionist show with his daughter in the afternoon. They'll have a workload until lunch, but how will they manage if Ji-yoon isn't here today? Kang Seo says that's why he called for her replacement. At that time, your young man came into the restaurant. Kang Seo said he was just in time. Yu Sung-tae asked this guy for a guardian's consent certificate and a medical certificate. The young man provided everything. Yu Sung-tae told the guy to wash his hands and started with the dishes. The new employee got down to business. Yu Sung-tae pointed out that this guy works fast. You can tell he's an awakened person. The young man said that it's not something he just does. He used to deliver newspapers every day, so he's learned. Kang Seo noticed that even when he was awakened, the skills still needed to be practiced. Yu Son-tae thought of another female employee, Ji-eun, at this moment. Ji-eun is a G-rated awakening, however she is much more nimble than this C-rated boy. The girl is riding in the back seat of the car. The assistant says that the young mistress will be there soon. The assistant added that as soon as they came out, the young lady should first greet the president, then the chairman of the association, and then socialize with the other executives of the guild directors. The girl said that she understood everything and asked what about her father. She said that the young lady's father had promised to pay a short visit. Apparently, he was very busy. The girl asked why she had to be at the corporate party today. It's Children's Day. And why does she need dark and flashy makeup and a red suit? The assistant said that red symbolized their Red Dragon Guild. We have to be patient for a while. For the children, their guild should be a role model and an object of aspiration. The girl wondered, what aspirations are we talking about? They could barely handle each new portal. However, this country owes its prosperity and security to them. The world is constantly teetering on the edge of an abyss. The assistant told the young mistress not to forget her status. She is the most beautiful and representative face of the guild, the Red Flame Witch. It is quite natural for an awakened from a good upper-class family to be as beautiful as a young mistress. There's no need to be ashamed of it. The girl thought that earlier she wanted to look more mature so that she wouldn't be disrespected because of her age. And now this flashy makeup became a part of her image. The assistant inquired about the mistress's hobby of playing a lower-class person. The girl replied that she was working undercover to protect civilians in case of emergencies. Her interlocutor said she was glad the young mistress had a favorite pastime, an outlet besides work and the affairs of the guild. The vehicle arrived at its destination and stopped. The girl got out of the car and thought it had been a long time since she had been in her role as a huntress. At an amusement fair, a companion approached our hero and drew his attention to one of the rides. It was a dart-throwing attraction. Kang Seo wondered, what was this? Are assassins really practicing in broad daylight? Ha-yoon explained that it was just a game. Kang Seo understood. These were the kind of entertainment games that people of this civilization loved. The guy explained that points were awarded for each balloon that burst. Ha-yoon pointed to the teddy bear and said it was the biggest prize. The toy was packaged in festive wrapping and looked very nice. Kang Seo asked the girl if she wanted a teddy bear like that. Ha-yoon replied that if she had such a teddy bear, she would be very happy and wouldn't even want sweets. After a little thought, the girl said that she still wanted goodies and different chocolates. Kang Seo suggested that the guy should try to win a teddy bear and make friends with Ha-yoon at the same time. The guy said he'd love to try it, but he's an awakened man with a rather useless ability called Explosion. Kang Seo wondered what that ability was. The C-Class doesn't have much power. It can cause a small explosion, enough to briefly blind and distract the monster. There is no use for this ability in normal life. Kang Seo said to the interlocutor to try to do as he says. The young men should do well. Kang Seo purchased 3 darts to throw at the balls. The guy thought, how can he get all 3 darts into a 100-point ball in one shot? I mean, it's impossible. Kang Seo told his companion to stand steadily and tense his body muscles. If he was unsteady during the throw, the center of gravity of the weapon would be disturbed. The shoulders and hands should be relaxed and aim a little higher. The most important thing is to focus. The young man concentrated and took aim. The mission was accomplished. The balloon burst and the guy earned 100 points. The young man was pleased. Kang Seo praised him. Ha-yoon was pleased too. Ha-yoon carried the coveted prize of a teddy bear in her hands. It was announced over the speakerphone that the show of the mighty magician Woo Kang Kyul was about to start. Ha-yoon told her uncle that the illusion was starting and needed to hurry up. The young men hurried after the girl. Kang Seo told her to be careful not to fall. At this time, on the roof of a neighboring building, the miscreants were pulling out firearms. One of them feared that they were endangering themselves. The other said that in any case the order must be carried out. They had no other choice. They themselves will be wiped out if they don't follow orders and start shooting people. The criminals were afraid of what would happen if they were captured. The subordinate said there was no need to be afraid. They have this thing. He pointed to the glowing ring on his finger. Even if the strong awakened searchers look for them, they won't find them. Their only target is the blood flower. The criminals took aim, looking for a target to destroy. They were ordered to destroy the blood flower. Blood flower's real name was Kim Ji-eun, Red Flame Witch. She must die. Ha-yoon called out to the adults. She said she had found a good spot. Kang Seo thought he could see the levitation tricks up close from there. Kang Seo thought that as far as levitation was concerned, he could do that himself. The young man said he liked the trick of cutting a person in 2 and then putting them back together again the best. Kang Seo thought, does this world have such tricks too? When a magician cuts a body and then puts it back together? The guy added that even when you know it's a stunt, it's very convincing. Our hero looked around. He thought he felt a familiar aura. Could it be Ji-eun? Kang Seo saw a girl in red on the VIP stand who had this strong aura emanating from her. Kang Seo asked who was stationed there. The companion said they were VIP seats. Kang Seo asked, so this woman is an important person? The guy looked and was surprised. It's a black rose. The guy added that in this country, if someone didn't know this girl, they were probably a spy. In the long run, she should be the leader of the Red Dragon Guild. Kang Seo thought that this girl must be a very strong hunter if she was so popular. The interlocutor said that she was the best hunter of the Red Dragon Guild. It's one of the 3 major guilds. Our hero thought, Ji-eun is a high-class girl. Ji-eun noticed her colleague and immediately started hiding from him. She wondered why those people from the Spring Pavilion were here now. She liked looking at Kang Seo, though. Kang Seo thought that Ji-eun must have a reason to hide her identity. The host announced that the Great Illusion Show was about to begin. The magician came on stage and released pigeons from his hat. The magician performed miracles, and on the stage, various figures were flying in the air around him. Kang Seo watched as the wizard moved the items without using magic. Suddenly, our hero felt that danger was approaching. A bullet fired from a sniper rifle appeared in the air. Kang Seo reacted with lightning speed. Using his energy abilities, he deflected the bullet from its intended trajectory. The bullet hit the protective barrier and left a crack. The guards wondered, what happened? One of the guards reported that a munition loaded with aura had been fired. Security realized that a sniper was at work. Several more bullets were fired at the intended target. Orders have been received to increase the power of the defense shield. It is necessary to protect the lady. It was clear that bullets loaded with aura could penetrate the protective shield. There must be some way to stop them. What kind of bullets could penetrate the strongest energy shield? The security officer wondered who was capable of such a thing and why he was shooting. Ji-eun jumped up from her seat and began to use her internal reserves to strengthen the energy shield. The security representative was confused. What is Black Rose doing? Ji-eun asked the man why he was sitting down. Isn't he going to look for the culprit? Black Rose thought, what's going on with her friends at the Spring Pavilion restaurant now? Security officials began evacuating civilians. Using identification signs, they directed the flow of traffic in the right direction. Lim So-yoon said for her daughter not to be afraid because her mom is by her side. Ha-yoon cried and said that her bear appeared to be injured. The protagonist thought that those snipers were the reason Ha-yoon was crying. He will find those rascals and make them pay for it. Kang Seo told his friends that he should step back for a while. The danger seems to have passed. Using his unique abilities, our hero quickly figured out the sniper's location and, climbing onto the roof, approached them. One of the snipers resented why his colleague missed. After all, he should have destroyed the red fox with one shot. The colleague said that he had aimed exactly at the head, but the bullet had bounced off something. Kang Seo stealthily approached the snipers from behind. One of the snipers suggested shooting some of the civilians to cause panic and then make a quiet getaway. Kang Seo, hearing such words, was indignant. Are they really going to shoot at peaceful people? Kang Seo decided that these two were villains and thought it was worth returning their own bullets to them. After giving the ammunition the proper acceleration, our hero sent the bullets straight into the snipers. The villains were wounded and collapsed on the roof, bleeding. Kang Seo came closer to them. Kang Seo was angry. Not only was Ha-yoon crying because of them, but they were going to shoot civilians. One of the villains saw Kang Seo and said he didn't know who this guy was, but he would not be forgiven for it. Kang Seo thought about who this sniper was threatening him with. From whom would there be no forgiveness? Kang Seo thought that the hunters from the association would deal with these criminals. In order not to attract attention and leave his friends for too long, the protagonist jumped off the roof of this high-rise building and headed towards Ha-yoon to comfort her. In kindergarten, the children drew something with interest, asking the teacher for help. After getting the information on her smartphone, the worried educator said she would be back to the children soon. She had to leave for a while. The girl answered the call and said that Go Sora was on the phone. After listening to the interlocutor, the educator said that she understood everything. It could very well be an attempt by illegals. The children need extra security. The girl was thanked for taking on this task, even though it was a task for the inspection department. The children left the room and called out to Mrs. Guo. The teacher said she was on her way back. Go Sora apologized and told the caller that she would call back later. Go Sora returned to the children, apologized for being away, and asked if the children knew what day tomorrow was. The children raised their hands and said that tomorrow was Parents' Day. The teacher praised the children and said that today, they would make carnations out of paper for the occasion. They wanted to express their gratitude to their parents. Go Sora walked over to Ha-yoon and thanked the girl. She asked who the flowers were for. Ha-yoon replied that they were gifts for her parents. All the children immediately started telling who their paper flowers were for. Go Sora walked over to the boy Young-hoon and said that he had made a very pretty carnation too. The children asked, "Does Young-hoon have someone to give gifts to?" The children asked the teacher if it was true that Young-hoon had no one to give carnations to because he had no parents and lived with his aunt. Some children said they didn't want to be friends with Young-hoon. Young-hoon sat sad at the table. The teacher tried to comfort him. Ha-yoon says those boys who don't play with Young-hoon are bad. The girl asked if they didn't have parents. What would it be like for them to hear questions about who they were making carnations for? The other kids replied that they didn't want to be without their parents. Hyun asked if they can see how bad it is now. Why are they asking Jung-hoon such questions? Go-sora asked the children what they should do when they did something bad. The boys answered that they should apologize. The teacher told those guys to apologize to Jung-hoon and never talk like that again. Jung-hoon sat upset and had tears in his eyes. Ha-yoon walked over to the boy and told him to stop crying and keep making carnations with her. Jung-hoon said he would give the carnation to his aunt. Ha-yoon smiled and cut the confidence that Auntie would like this gift. The girl was walking down the corridor with documents in her hands. She was in thought. The girl thought of the guild leader, Kim Jae-hall, a Class A awakened. He had appeared in the era of chaos. A master of magic sword and fire magic, he was one of the great warriors who made the war against monsters win. This is the greatest guild in the country, yet this man is intimidating her. The girl decided that today she had to do without mistakes. When she knocked on the door, she heard the other side say that she could come in. The girl entered the office and greeted the leader. The man was sitting at his desk. The aide said she would read the supervisor the schedule for today. The leader asked how the investigation of the attempted assassination of his daughter using aura-charged ammunition was going. The girl replied that the Silver Tower group was under suspicion at the moment, but there was no news yet. The man pounded his fist on the table and said that he demanded to find the customers at all costs and as soon as possible. It was necessary to find the one who had dared to attempt on his daughter's life. The young lady assured that everything would be honored and added that she brought materials regarding the request for the Spring Pavilion restaurant. The man, after examining the documents, inquired if it was the owner of the restaurant. The girl confirmed, "This is Yu Sung-tae, who was once her friend and helped her scout the dungeon. He's a talented cook." The assistant asked what the boss would order to be done to him. The man added that after the death of his wife, his daughter lived only for revenge. It was the first time she was interested in something else. Moreover, he treats the restaurant owner well, so they should be kept under supervision and not touched. When the presenter was alone in his office, he leaned over to his safe. The man took out a child's toy from the safe. It was the first carnation from Ji-yoon. When he looks at this thing, all the tiredness and irritation just melts away. He hopes that his daughter will someday start smiling as often as she did when she was a child again. The morning before the restaurant opened, a former library employee met Kang Seo cleaning up the surrounding area. Kang Seo told the young man that he came earlier than usual. The guy said that thanks to Kang Seo's training, he had learned to deliver the same amount of newspapers, but in a shorter amount of time. Kang Seo wondered what kind of training he was talking about. It was all accomplished by the guy's efforts. He was just giving advice. The guy said he had felt depressed for a long time and thought his life would be like this for the rest of his life. Ordinary and boring. But thanks to Kang Seo, he felt he could accomplish anything. The guy assumed he wouldn't be able to advance in the class, but he also didn't realize that the dart-throwing technique he'd been taught would develop his abilities so much. Kang Seo wondered what he was talking about. He explained that the dart-throwing technique was very useful to him. Kang Seo said he meant something else. This is the second time the guy has said he'll stay with the class forever. Why? The young man asked. Isn't it obvious? A person's chances of reawakening are practically nil. Even if one survives a second awakening, there is no guarantee that the class will improve. Kang Seo thought that this guy was wrong. Awakening is only the beginning. Our hero thought to himself, do the people of this civilization not understand this? Kang Seo asked the young man what breathing techniques he knew. The young man was surprised and asked, "What are they?" Kang Seo realized that the awakened ones of this world didn't know what the technique was for. That's why they have such poor control over their energy. The young man said that he still had some newspapers to deliver, so he was leaving. The two men said goodbye. Yu Sun-tae asked Kang Seo what was bothering him. Kang Seo asked what his friend would do if he knew the secret to making all the awakened ones much stronger. Yu Sun-tae replied that he would share the secret with them. Kang Seo asked, and would he expect to get nothing for it? Yu Sun-tae replied that if his home and family were protected by even stronger awakened ones, that would be enough for him. Yu Sun-tae added, what good is this secret to him? It's better to say because he himself is unable to protect this civilization. He wants his daughter to live in a safe world. Kang Seo replied that everything was clear now. The friend suggested calming down and drinking a Coke. Kang Seo thought that he was quietly living undercover because he didn't want to bring confusion into this world. In that case, if he shared the secret with this world, there would be more order in it, which is exactly what he wanted. He decided to develop a breathing technique for the awakened. Our hero worked hard. He didn't sleep a wink for 2 nights and finally finished the necessary program. With this technique, the awakened will be able to concentrate the aura in their body and not lose it. Kang Seo called his technique the method of a pure and righteous heart. The only thing left was to find a way to spread it. Kang Seo asked Ji-eun what the president of the Hunters Association was like. What kind of person was he? The girl replied that he was a great man. His name should go down in history. Frankly speaking, if it were not for him, this country would not exist now. He is the one who most deserves his position. He was always there when his help was most needed. Kang Seo thought that this was just the person he needed. Fair, doomed by power. This is the kind of person who can take responsibility for the distribution of his manuscript. Kang Seo thought, if everything Ji-eun says about him is true, then he is trustworthy and can be given this valuable secret. Our hero decided it was a good time to go for a walk. The head of the guild, accompanied by security representatives, followed in the given direction. The president walked up to the guards, who immediately said hello to him. The first thing the guild leader did when he showed up at his workplace was to order a cup of coffee for himself from an assistant. The president saw an unfamiliar manuscript on his desk. Naturally, it interested him. What could it be? The method of a pure and righteous heart? Is it really a martial arts novel? An aide brought Mr. President a cup of aromatic coffee. The supervisor asked if the assistant knew what the manuscript was. The aide looked at this notebook and told the president he didn't have that information. It's like something related to martial arts. The boss smiled and said that in such books there is always a hero who finds an ancient martial arts manuscript and he becomes stronger. If reading books gave one such ability, that would be just fine. However, the guild leader was definitely interested in this manuscript. The handwriting wasn't very pretty, but it was energetic. It was written in the notebook that this method of a pure and righteous heart was meant to concentrate the awakening of the aura in one's body. This information really interested the guild head. The method involved strengthening the connection between the dantian and the energy core. This allows a person to use their aura without unnecessary loss, which will make the awakened much more effective in battle. Those who study this method will realize that the present class system of the awakened is not the defining system, but only the beginning of human development. The guild leader thought that the author of the pure and righteous heart method was sharing it with humanity freely, and only hoped that the method would only be used for peace and safety. Scientists around the world are conducting research on the possibility of raising the awakened to their level. However, so far no one has found an answer. All research has been in vain. The guild leader wondered, who could have written something so grandiose? The method is written very convincingly, one might even say at a very high level. But who brought this notebook here, for what purpose? On the blank page of the notebook, the man saw an unusual symbol. It can't be. It was the only trace of the awakened 0 level they had found. Could it be that he is the author of the method? If so, one can have no doubts about the effectiveness of the method and the good intentions of the author. The guild leader thought that this method wouldn't cause him personally any trouble. The man had no objection to the fact that it was as the author of this manuscript wanted it to be. Even Li Xin has problems in the area of energy conservation. The president was curious to see Li Xin when he read this method. We should contact him for sure. A young man came to the guild president's office and asked what was wrong. After all, the president knows how much he doesn't like to leave the house. A man suggests that the guy read this manuscript. It seems to him that it contains the answers that the interlocutor has been looking for a long time. Li Xin inquired, "Where did the president get this shabby notebook?" After reading a few lines, Li Xin was very surprised. "What is this?" The president smiled and replied that he had been expecting this expression on his face. It was now safe to say that his day had been a success. Li Xin repeated the question, "What is it?" The man replied, "Can't you see? The method of a pure and righteous heart." The president added that the interlocutor has flown overseas several times to meet with 0-grade awakened people and ask them how they are coping with their exuberant energy. Li Xin said that was exactly what happened, but he only received worthless answers, like experiencing reawakening and being reborn at grade 0. Li Xin said that this was very similar to the real solution to the energy problem. Where did the guild leader get this from? The man replied that it was a gift from the only awakened 0 class in the country. When he came to work, this notebook was on his desk and it's unclear how it got here. Even the cameras didn't record anyone. Li Xin asked, could he be the first to study this method? The president said, that's why he was summoned. Even in case of any side effects, he and his S-class would be able to overcome them. Li Xin walked out of the president's office with the notebook and thought, who was he? this first zero-grade awakened person in this country. Li Xin leisurely strolled along the waterfront and pondered on matters of the day. The weather was beautiful, and Li Xin sat down on a bench to rest. Looking up, he decided that it was a very clear sky right now. How long had it been since he had left the house? How long had it been since he had bathed in the sunlight as carefree as he was now? People were paying attention to the man with the sword in his hand who had dealt with the monster. They said he was a hero. People greeted the new hero of the S-Class with admiration, appearing miraculously. The hopes of the entire nation were fulfilled on him. Li Xin was the man who closed the S-Class portal. However, his companions were destroyed, and he became wary of his power. Since then, he has lived in a constant struggle with his power. The more he tries to master it, the more it gets out of control, making him more and more lonely. Thanks to him, though, many people were able to return to a peaceful life. Li Xin continued to look at the sky. He continued to live, and it was not at all easy for him to deal with his superpower. Li Xin realized that he still hadn't mastered the method perfectly. He must not relax. Li Xin had hated his own strength for a long time. However, through mastering the pure and righteous heart method, he was able to gain the upper hand over her and break the zero-grade barrier. The zero-class awakened who wrote this method is really his benefactor. Li Xin turned his attention to the people sitting nearby. They were marveling at the fact that they had their food delivered in just 5 minutes. Does this courier have a speed-related ability? He's clearly no less than a Class B. A courier wearing a motorcycle helmet delivered food to the young men from the Spring Pavilion restaurant. The delivery was a small portion of gabaju, 3 jjajangmyeon and 1 jampon. The customer said they didn't order fried dumplings. The courier said that it was a gift from the establishment and wished the young people a pleasant appetite. Li Xin watched this courier with interest. Li Xin heard the name of the restaurant, and after looking it up in the navigator, he decided it was not far away at all. Li Xin decided to definitely visit this restaurant. Our hero was told he was on top of his game today and offered a glass of water to cool down. Ji-eun, watching Kang Seo drink the water, asked, "Is something wrong?" Kang Seo replied that there was nothing wrong with the water. However, he felt the presence of a young man. He had sensed his presence in the park. This guy's aura was incredibly strong. Li Xin entered the restaurant and said hello to the people present. The receptionist asked if the customer would be alone. Li Xin was surprised to see Ji-eun here. He asked what the girl was doing here. Yu Suntai asked, "Does she really know Ji-eun?" Yu Suntai thought that he had seen this young man somewhere before. Ji-eun said he was her cousin. She added that this guy has a standard face. Everyone talks like they've seen him somewhere before. She inquired about what the brat would be ordering. Ji-eun added that he can eat quickly and go on his way. Li Xin said he would love to try the jjajangmyeon. Ji-eun walked over to the table where Li Xin was sitting and asked what he was even doing here. Is he allowed to leave the house? If he has another attack of uncontrollable energy, how will the others react to it? Li Xin replied to the girl that it was already in the past. Ji-eun asked how he found the solution. The guy replied that at the next training session at the association, Ji-eun would find out everything herself. Ji-eun asked Li Xin to keep her mouth shut in front of these people. They think she's just an ordinary girl. Lim So-young brought the guy's order of jjajangmyeon and added that since he was Ji-eun's relative, they made him a bigger portion. The guy thanked the hostess. After tasting the dark noodles, Li Xin came to the conclusion that it was a very delicious dish, and his eyes sparkled with happiness. Li Xin thought, even though the noodles were a little burnt in places, it was still delicious. It had been a long time since he had eaten such fresh and uncooked jjajangmyeon. Li Xin was flustered. He thought that he would never experience such simple pleasures again. Suddenly, Li Xin had visions. He imagined everyone in this restaurant lying unconscious in their own blood. Li Xin thought he had a surge of emotion and his aura surged. Ji-eun walked over to the guy and said that if he had eaten, then he could leave faster. Li Xin kept his gaze fixed on Kang Seo, who was taking orders from other customers. Li Xin couldn't understand what had just happened to him. When he came to his senses, he was greatly relieved. Li Xin thought that the situation was dangerous. Although he had learned the pure and righteous heart method, he still had little experience. Kang Seo thought how good it was that he was able to suppress this guy's energy with his energy in time. Our hero was wondering, who was this guy? He had studied the pure and righteous heart method so well, even though this method had only been released to the public the other day. If he knows Ji-eun, then he must be some important person. Kang Seo thought that this guy is a bit inept. He knows the theory well. That's an amazing talent. Could this be the one and only S-class in the whole country? Ji-eun asked if Li Xin liked the food. She added for him to leave and not come back here again. The young man replied that he understood. Li Xin answered the phone call. He said he understood everything and reported to Mr. Chairman that he would be there soon. Ji-eun was worried. What's wrong? Li Xin told the girl that the chairman was calling him to a meeting. Ji-eun replied that he should hurry up. The young men said goodbye. Ji-eun remarked that they would meet soon, but not here. When Li Xin left, Ji-eun breathed a sigh of relief, thinking that this guy might give her away. Ji-eun turned around and saw Kang Seo in front of her. The girl said that it was her cousin's honest word. Kang Seo replied that he understood everything. Reporting to the guild head's office, Li Xin inquired why the boss had summoned him. The president asked if the young man had already studied this method. Li Xin replied that he had, and the effects were dizzying. The guild leader noticed that the young man was not enthusiastic. Could there be something negative about this method? Li Xin replied that at first he was enthusiastic, but after careful study, it suddenly became clear to him. If this method was released to the masses, it would cause chaos. The president said that when he realized it was a real working method, he thought so too. But there is something he fears more than side effects. The president asked if Li Xin was concerned about the motives of the author of this method. The guild leader added that like his interlocutor, he was wary of the man. Not just feared, it was a feeling of fear and respect at the same time. Li Xin thought, what really are the motives of the Awakened Zero class? In the office, a young man brought a cup of coffee and offered his sister to drink it. She must be tired. The girl thanked him for the coffee. The guy asked if she was working too much again. I guess she's busy at work. A colleague responded that illegal activities have become too active lately. The interlocutor said he agreed with her. He had heard that the bomber had also become active. The girl noticed that the rogue investigators were almost dying of stress on the job because of this rogue. There's a lot of pressure on the support department because of the Black Rose assassination attempt. She asked her coworker if he wasn't in the same rush at work right now. Had he just stopped by to get a cup of coffee? The guy replied that he had something for her and asked if she was free next Thursday night. The guy said he was able to get some tickets to the Gold Star Ballet, wants to go with her if she can. The girl winked and said the ballet sounded very tempting. Had he really wanted to go there with some girl, but she'd said no? The girl added that she couldn't refuse if her younger brother asked. She would, of course, go. The young man told his sister not to forget and marked the event on her calendar. The girl took the calendar and said she would honor her little brother's request. The guy thanked his sister and said he was going on with his work. After drinking the coffee, the employee said her thoughts seemed to clear up and thanked her brother for the drink. It's next Thursday. The family from the Spring Pavilion restaurant is also going to the ballet. Hyun asked her father and uncle if she was beautiful. The men expressed their admiration. Yu Suntai said that Ha-yoon is a real beauty. Kang Seo added that the girl is really cute. Lim So-young looked at her husband and said that he was very solidly dressed today. Yu Suntai said that Kang Seo looks very solidly dressed. Ha-yoon agreed. Uncle is just a star today. Kang Seo thanked him for the compliment. Yu Suntai told his friend that he had a bad feeling. Kang Seo wondered if he looked bad. Lim So-young explained that they were worried about Kang Seo. He might attract unwanted attention with his resplendent appearance. Kang Seo thanked again for the compliment. The young people went all out for the Golden Star Ballet. Yu Sung-tae thought that Kang Seo really attracts attention wherever he goes. Our hero finds the surroundings strange. Why does he feel the same dark energy in such a spacious and crowded room as in the dungeons? Kang Seo decided to find out the source of this energy. The boy noticed that Black Rose had appeared here. She was wearing a red dress again. Black Rose wearing a red dress seemed a little strange to him. I guess the girl probably doesn't want to attract attention? Black Rose saw our hero in his suit and noted that he was quite attractive. A blush of embarrassment appeared on the girl's face. Kang Seo, of course, recognized Ji-yoon. Kang Seo pondered, should he tell the girl that the source of the strange energy was due to the illegal activities going on around here somewhere? But if he says it, how do you explain yourself later? After all, F classes can't have that kind of instinct. She'd realized that he was a class 0. However, he wasn't sure of anything yet. It was better to find out for sure. A young man and a girl were drinking alcohol. He said that the lowlifes could have fun. It would be the last ticket in their lives. The girl said she brought Mr. Asmod an exclusive wine in honor of his feast. The boy said it was just what he needed, a blood-red wine. Asmod asked his subordinates if everything was ready. They answered in the affirmative. Asmod said that in the second act, Clara dances with the prince. That's when they start their extravaganza. After finishing his wine, Asmod drew his sword from its sheath and said it was time for them to act. He added that it was his will. Asmod and his assistant set up on the helipad. He said there would be a great view from here. They would see the concert hall go up in the air. Asmod heard someone behind him ask, "What do you mean it's going to blow up?" Asmod looked around. He saw a stranger saying hello to him. Asmod asked who he was. The stranger said he didn't want to spoil their mood, but hoped for their cooperation. Asmod wondered, what was this madman talking about? Asmod added, does he even realize who he's standing in front of? At that, the villain assumed a boxing stance. Kang Seo, and the stranger was him, also adopted a boxing stance. Kang Seo sent his opponent far back with a fist punch to the jaw. Asmod flew off and fell on his back. Our hero said it seems to be the same in either world. Civilized conversation is mistaken for weakness, and one's own language carries people to the abyss. He added that his opponent should not break comedy and rise to his feet. Kang Seo was surprised. He didn't hit hard, so why did he get so agitated? Asmod was angry. Did this guy even know who was in front of him? Kang Seo inquired as to who the rogue would be. The opponent said he was the great and mighty Asmod. Asmod wondered, why couldn't he examine this stranger's face? Our hero disguised himself using his inner energy. Kang Seo stated that he didn't care who was in front of him. Asmod has to admit why he wanted to be in the concert hall. Asmod called his opponent a fool and added that he ordered the bomb to be planted. Asmod laughed. The bomb is embedded in a supporting column of the building. When it detonates, all those pathetic insects will die. Kang Seo turned to the girl. Is her subordinate telling the truth? Asmod took offense, after all. He is the girl's boss. Kang Seo, turning to Asmod's companion, said that perhaps we should stop this theater. The girl noticed that this guy had great intuition. The girl walked up to Asmod and said that she was tired of playing the secretary. Maybe it was really time to end it. Asmod became indignant. What was she even talking about? The girl punched her companion in the chest with her fist and pierced his body through. Asmod's companion pulled her bloody hand out of the guy's chest and took the sword from him. She said that this artifact and even the name Asmod was not for him. Asmod was surprised. How dare she? Asmod couldn't stay on his feet anymore and fell down. The girl said that now he could sleep in peace. Kang Seo asked this girl holding a sword in her hand, who was she? The girl replied that she was the real Asmod, not this underdog. Kang Seo said that in that case it was her doing and attacked her opponent. Our hero's hand went through the girl's body like through fog. Kang Seo thought it was the magic of illusion. Asmod said this guy was really fast. The girl was invulnerable. Kang Seo asked if she was human or what. Asmod shook her head. Is it okay to ask a girl such questions? The stranger replied that she was keeping her name secret. Maybe next time she would introduce herself to him. The girl said that because of this guy she might miss a great show. But this time she will forgive him because he is her type. The girl turned around and began to walk away, saying they would see each other again. She couldn't disappear, however. The portal opened by her artifact became distorted for some reason. Kang Seo used his abilities to close that portal. He said to the girl, did she really think he would let her go so easily? Kang Seo, approaching the stranger, said that she has an interesting ability to cut space. But he had an answer to that. He would just sew up the space. The girl couldn't believe that this could happen. Asmod thought this guy might be dangerous to her. Asmod decided that it was necessary to assume an incorporeal form and disappear. Kang Seo asked how many more times was she going to dodge. Our hero attacked his opponent with intense punches with his fists. The girl thought it was bad. Even in her incorporeal form, she could feel his blows. Besides, the time to use this skill would expire soon. Asmod started to reappear. Time had already expired. If only she was even one class higher. Kang Seo kicked the girl right in the chest. She flew backwards and fell on her back. Kang Seo saw that the rival had black blood. He knew she wasn't human. She must be a demon in the form of a woman. Asmod thought it was a disaster. There's no way she can run away from her opponent. Kneeling down, the girl thought, Would she really have to resort to this method? Kang Seo asked the rival who she was. Her aura is very unusual. Asmode wondered, if she told, would he spare her? Kang Seo wondered if she was asking him for mercy. Asmode said she wasn't asking for mercy. Asmode pulled her sword from its sheath. The girl swung and stabbed herself in the chest with the sword. Black blood spurted in all directions. Kang Seo calmly said that he didn't expect her to choose to destroy herself just to avoid giving away who she was. The girl smiled enigmatically. Could it be that he misunderstood what was happening now? Dark, negative energy began to spread everywhere, emanating from her wound. Asmode once again said goodbye and said that she hoped to never meet this handsome man again. Our hero didn't know there was such an ability. We should have suppressed it and then interrogated him. That girl's companion pulled himself up and said, bleeding, that she had betrayed him and he would take revenge. Kang Seo said to share their plot, then he would take revenge on her for this guy. The villain says the bomb will detonate during Clara and the prince's dance. A pyrokineticist is in the audience. Kang Seo was already thinking of a plan of action. He realized that he needed to get into the auditorium immediately. The performance had already begun. The ballet on stage was in full swing. Among the onlookers were Yu Sun-tae and his family. Ha-yoon said it was very beautiful. Lim So-young said that next is the Waltz of Flowers. And then the most interesting thing is Clara and Prince's dance. Li Xin, accompanied by security, explored the perimeter. He knew that the next act would be Clara and the Prince's dance. Li Xin thought that the person who broke into his office was definitely a rank 0. He left a message. There were illegal ones in Myeongsan Concert Hall and disappeared. The guild leader said that he didn't know how this person knew this, but there were most likely people like that. The president ordered Li Xin to take a squad of law enforcers and follow there. There shouldn't be much trouble. Li Xin could really feel the aura. Judging from the blueprints, it was coming from the technical floor. Li Xin told law enforcement officials to evacuate the civilians first. Li Xin took some of the law enforcers with him and proceeded to the basement. The rest of the law enforcers were engaged in emergency evacuation from the auditorium. Li Xin thought that the director of the association had given them a plan of the building, and it really sped up the search. Li Xin saw a man standing to the side and thought that there was a suspicious aura coming from him. A man walked up to Li Xin and said that it was forbidden to enter here. They must leave this area, whoever they are. Li Xin thought that the entrance was forbidden, just not for him, and swung his fist. The ensuing blow threw the man far back, and he flew into the adjoining room, breaking through the door. Li Xin entered the restricted room and, seeing the strangers there, said he had a warrant for their arrest. After a while, thanks to the help of the security representatives, the strangers were deactivated and collapsed on the floor. Kang Seo thought that there was no problem with these people. Li Xin was surprised by the fact that one of the arrested people was smiling strangely. Li Xin asked, what was he up to? Li Xin took this guy by the chest and told him to confess. What else are they hiding here? The stranger wondered. Can't you smile? Li Xin decided to act tougher and use force. He grabbed the stranger's chest and said he would not ask 3 times. The arrested man got scared and said that everything was in the concert hall. In the concert hall, there is a bomber among the audience. This information made Li Xin very wary. In the concert hall, evacuation was in full swing. The audience was asked to hurry. A group of illegals had been discovered in the building. It was necessary to leave the building without unnecessary panic. Yu Sung-tae's family was still in the auditorium. Ha-yoon, sitting on her father's shoulders, asked where Uncle Kang Seo had gone. Is he okay? Suddenly, one of the audience stood up in the middle of the hall and said that they were too late. He would sacrifice his blood and despair to the Great One. There was a huge explosion in the hall. It was clear that it was a suicide bomber, and an illegal one at that. The next moment, our hero appeared near Yu Sun-tae's family and apologized for being late. Yu Sun-tae asked where Kang Seo had been for so long. Armed men appeared at the door and said that they would not let anyone out of there. The spectators must accept the fact that they will become victims of the Great One. Law enforcement officers from the outside could not open the door. It was clear that the doors were locked from the inside. Li Xin kicked the door with a strong leg kick and forced his way inside. He told the criminals that their colleagues in the basement had been arrested. It was necessary to stop resisting and surrender. The audience recognized the man. They said it was Li Xin, an S-class hunter. One of the criminals, holding an explosive in his hand, said he would not surrender and would take Li Xin with him. The villain shouted that he was a second-generation pyromancer. All present would perish for the glory of the Great One. The perpetrator began to ignite. Li Xin thought that this pyromaniac was completely crazy. This is already serious, and he won't be able to contain the force of the explosion. Even if the villain is destroyed, he will have time to apply the spark and detonation will occur. Suddenly, a source of energy appeared nearby. Li Xin thought that this strange, yet somehow familiar energy enveloped the bomber. This is to stop the force of the explosion in case of detonation. This energy extinguished all of the criminal's flames as if nothing had happened. The pyromancer tossed the explosives to the floor and got all flamed up again while screaming loudly. Li Xin managed to fly up and catch the explosive before it hit the floor. At this time, he thought that the pyromancer had blown himself up with its power. Li Xin was holding an explosive. Thanks to his reaction and resourcefulness, the explosion was avoided. The security representative checked the bomber and said he could still be saved. However, he was barely breathing and needed to be taken to intensive care immediately. At this time, the Silver Tower hitman appeared. He introduced himself and said that the bomber should be given to him. Healer leaned over the villain and began to perform resuscitation procedures. Li Xin calmly watched. Li Xin saw one of the viewers in a nice suit send him a like. Li Xin realized everything. This man had an aura, the same one that had stopped his attack of uncontrollable force in the restaurant. Hayun cried on the porch of the theater. She wanted to watch Clara's dance. There were dancers from the ballet company next to the audience. Clara approached the girl and asked if the little princess wanted to see her dance. Hayun got excited and said that of course she wanted to. Clara took the prince under her arm and said that in that case they would dance for the girl. The audience watched with interest as Clara and the prince danced their dance in the square in front of the theater. Instead of footlights, there was the moon, and instead of a stage, there were streets. The audience was delighted. The Shining Stars ensemble delighted their audience as never before. That night, Li Xin approached Kang Seo and asked him to be his teacher. Our hero looked at his opponent and thought he was starting to get in trouble. Just before closing time, a young man entered the restaurant. He had been warned that the restaurant was closing. Kang Seo realized that this guy would come here sooner or later, but to come here so soon? Li Xin turned to Kang Seo and called him teacher. He asked,